Hi, welcome to Juggz. I said that really loud and do it again.
No,
Keep all of this in.
It's all
good.
It's
The entire thing.
perfect.
Hi, welcome to Juggz. We're back. It's another week. This time we have a guest. I'm going to go around the room and see how everyone is. James Hewitt, games developer, formerly or still of Modifius.
There you go.
I think we've got to start. Has that not been
I
publicly
recognise
announced?
you from somewhere.
No.
Okay.
I recognise you from
That's
somewhere.
fine.
Where do I recognise you from?
I don't know. Derby. Somewhere in Derby,
yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nights out.
Nights out, yeah,
No,
yeah.
wait. We used to work at Games Workshop together.
Oh, did we?
And we did a podcast, a video-y.
We did
what
do
was
a
that?
podcast.
That thing?
Yeah,
was
I
that
think-
was that
Yeah, it was a podcast. It's like this.
What I don't know about yet is
Yeah.
when I think podcast, I think audio, but here we are.
They've got a lot of cameras for
Again,
it.
Is it all?
Vlogcast.
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 I think their vodcast is what they technically are.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, I don't know, but but this is Juggz. It's a podcast. We promise.
So thank you. Thank
thank
you
you.
for coming on our Juggz.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James. We're professionals.
I'm allowed to say it.
Yeah.
So am I.
It's nice to get the tone early, so I know where to pitch it.
It's
Don't-
real. It's real
Don't
low.
pitch it. Just catch
The
it.
tone is like tinnitus. It's just there.
And it will never go away.
So how are you, James?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go,
Do you want to ask as well?
James. I
we
just
just all
have
do it at
one
the same
question
time?
for you, James, and that is, how are you? How you doing?
All right, actually, yeah. Good, busy. Busy as ever, doing lots of things. Went to Adapticon. That was fun. Went to Salute. That was fun.
Have you been to Adaptations before?
No, actually, first time properly in the States at all.
Oh,
So that
Really?
was-
What,
yeah.
like, in the world ever?
Yeah, I did like one connecting flight at Newark Airport a week
Wow,
before
how was
9/11. So
my
I was like, I
God.
imagine flying has changed since then.
It's a wee bit
it had.
more anal, I'm going to say. And it's not anyone's fault, but like,
It's
it's a bit
definitely a lot less loosey-goosey.
Because like I don't really remember the before times. What was it like going?
I
to...
love that like 5 minutes into this, I've brought up 9/11.
Welcome to Juggz.
Yeah, there we are.
Juggz. Welcome,
What was
Juggz.
it? I don't know. I mean, I was 19 or so, 18, 19. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, you were youngin'.
my main thing was, the Border Patrol were a little bit rude. And that was as much as it was. That was
So like you still had to like show your passport and stuff, right?
yeah.
That was a thing.
But like there wasn't as many. There wasn't
Always
as many,
been a thing, weirdly.
There wasn't as many security checks as that.
It was. I think it's chilled out now a lot more, I imagine, than it was maybe 10 years ago. But
No.
it's still like,
Maybe they should
No, it's still,
unchill out.
it's still pretty serious.
There was a lot of like, get your bags out and empty everything. And I don't know if you've got a laptop, take it out the bag. Thing was though, what got me was they were really imprecise with things. I was like, if you have a laptop, take it out the bag. Well, I've got a Nintendo Switch with me. It's not a laptop, but I feel
Don't
like it's in the
care
same.
about that.
Do you want to see it? And I asked them, and they looked at me like I was stupid. Like, no, it's not a laptop.
If it was a
not a
DS that
laptop.
opened up,
Yeah, exactly. At that point,
problem.
is it? Yeah, if it's a tablet
That's
with a
so
keyboard attached to it,
wild.
well,
That is mad.
So yeah, they're just like, no, only laptops can be bombed.
only laptops can be bombs. This is the thing.
Oh.
So
to
yeah,
know.
it's
Good to
good to
know.
know.
Never knew that.
Oh, there you go.
That's clarity that I needed.
Games
But that was-
designer James.
interesting start. Thanks, James.
But it was fun.
And we didn't know we were getting you on for airport security hot takes, but I'm here for them. Do you want them to be more serious or less serious in the future?
I would like them to just push on, just go full draconic.
Oh, yeah. I want to get down to the pants.
Yeah, finger swab.
Yeah.
Finger
Yeah.
swab, anal swab. Swab.
Where
My
are they
wife got
swabbing?
swabbed with, the gunpowder kind of bomb thing that they do where they
yeah?
have to like go.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. So she just got pulled out of the queue. I mean, she looks dodgy as
Wait, who does?
Mrs. Peach.
She does not.
She does.
No, I'm joking.
No, she's not dodgy. She was just like had a book in a bag, and this guy was like,
she have a laptop?
need to do a test. Pulled her out, and she was like so nervous. And
Did you pass?
Oh yeah. She had no gunpowder on her at all. Thank
I'm
God.
loving where we're at, but I think I might move it somewhere else.
Yes, that's good.
If
'cause
that's okay.
I want to know about you, Robin.
No, I don't think James has even yet
How many
properly.
bombs have you made this week, Rob?
Just for everyone to know, James is an incredibly famous game designer. Could you tell us about some of the projects you've worked on in the past?
Yes, certainly. I love the vibe that I'm getting, that you're hoping that I'm going to bring a sense of order and control.
Not at all.
I'm so glad.
He is the bra keeping us all together.
We will see.
It's the wrong size, but
I've been doing game design stuff for a while, about 10 years now, actually.
Okay.
surely it's
full-time.
longer.
I think
It
it's
is-
longer.
It's longer.
We're going to say it's longer.
Maybe
James, when we
12,
worked
maybe.
with each other,
40
it was like
years.
8 years ago.
Yeah, true.
When was Silvertail? Yeah.
It's been a while. It was like 2011, 2012 maybe I started. So, but that was like
Maybe
initially
then.
romantic, doing a little bit of stuff on the side. I went into workshop 2013. So that's 11 years ago. So that's when I've been doing it, full time since then. Did a load of stuff at GW. Started off in the publications, which is now books and box games.
I think it's something else now.
Is it something else now?
Something else now.
What's it now?
I don't know.
Dreams and Wonder.
Yeah.
Dreams and gumption.
Dreams of plunder.
So I did loads of like codexes, battle tomes.
That's cool.
It was pretty cool.
What was your,
I was going to say, don't name the codexes. You might get hate.
oh no!
Oh no, I'm fine. I had a death threat the other day. That was fun.
Shut up! Oh, is that-
You were
did
pissing
send
me off.
that?
I sent it to you, yeah.
Oh my god! Did we
I didn't.
just-
To be fair, I didn't send you a death threat. I'm just clarifying. That wasn't me.
Sorry, did you get that? No. What was the death threat?
It was on Instagram, and it was like, I mean, my Instagram is not even hobby related, so I love this.
They just
It was-
really did like your
Yeah, it was.
face.
You deserve to die for what you did to Warhammer with Age of Sigmar. And I was like, okay, for a start,
did you
that
do?
wasn't even me. That was I was involved in like writing some of the compendium, some of the early battle tomes, but the thought that I was in any kind of position to do anything, and I just
And
went,
you deserve to die because of it.
yeah, and obviously, no one who's
quite
in a right
extreme.
state of mind sends that sort of thing. No. And so what I should have done is just block, delete.
You're mentally
But I just went,
unwell, yes.
Are you okay? And
Did you
and
say that?
Yeah, I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
yeah, and I sent some links to like mental health charities and things and all
That's
this. And,
that's
and then-
almost like
and then blocks and deleted. Yeah. No, that was it. I got blocked. That was it.
You got
I got
blocked.
which I think's a win.
Yeah, it is a win.
That's a win.
that is
It's
a win. That is a
Because you tried to help.
Louise gentle parent someone the other day. Because that's what
they
you're doing,
don't-
right?
exactly what it
That's what
is.
you're doing.
They don't use the internet, so I think it's okay for me to say this here on the internet. So I'm accidentally in a rogue trader Facebook group chat.
That is on the internet though.
That is, yeah, but
Okay.
it's on Facebook, which is just like,
I mean, I don't know if that's the internet anymore.
no.
it's barely the internet
just
anymore.
it's
It's a cantina
So,
from Star Wars, isn't it? It's just a hive of villainy and scum.
As you probably know, Facebook is like, it's pretty old school
Yes.
at this point.
Yes.
And especially if you're in a rogue trader like fan group. And I didn't know that I was in like the group chat for this until it like pinged up that my friend had like gotten into an argument with someone else in the group chat. So I'm like, haha, okay, what's going on in here? I have a little drop in, and it was during the Lady Custodes debacle, and this guy was popping off. He was dropping misters of battle like it was the fucking funniest joke he'd ever heard in his life. And
It is actually really funny, though.
He's like, oh, so when are we going to be getting our misters of silence? Just waiting for the likes to come in. It's just like nothing. Some old guy's like, I painted this tank, and he's like, at least tanks are in keeping with the lore, and just like nothing. So like he started arguing with people. He was like all caps yelling like, "You're a liar" at people for
Oh, I
being
love
like
that. That's so yeah.
unhinged.
So
yes.
internet.
Just unwell.
That's so internet. So I drop in because I can see this guy's having a bad time, and I'm like, hey buddy, can we, like, I see you're having a tough time. I promise it's going to be okay. Can we try and reserve this place for what it should be, which is people liking Rogue Trader. Here, I personally really like the Rainbow Warriors. They're my favorite. What's yours? And he's like, don't you dare condescend me. Obviously furious that a woman even spoke to him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he was just real mad. He was like, don't you dare condescend me. I am perfectly calm, all caps, perfectly calm. I am sitting here with my cat. And I was like, oh, what's your cat called? And he was like, it's called Obi or something. And I was like, oh, like Star Wars. I love that film. Anyway, here's a minute. So I managed to successfully
Well done.
redirect and like I don't know, a gentle parent, this man popping off in a group
He was
chat.
probably just having a hard time because
was.
being a man in the hobby is tough.
It's real tough.
He's back every week.
You gotta
is left
keep
for him,
saying
you know?
it.
Yeah, you gotta
honestly.
keep saying
He's so
it.
strong. He's such a
Saying it.
strong cause.
I mean, that is something that happens a lot, right? Like people are like, I would say
off on the
people are really
internet.
passionate about what is happening, but it just makes people just need a lot more love. It doesn't really work fighting back with them because they're not
totally.
really arguing.
He's not
right?
going to change his mind. So I just wanted him to like fuck off and have a cup of tea, essentially.
absolutely.
And let everyone else kind of like come back when you're a wee bit like, more emotionally regulated. Maybe
have a Mars bar, have a sit down.
Have a wee Snickers.
Yeah.
Snickers.
Have a wee Snickers.
Talking about fucking off and having a cup of tea. Peachy, how's your week been?
It's been all right. I've had a few doozies with tech and stuff
Okay.
like that. I'm currently doing a Custodies video, which I'm going to change to Curstodies video because the project
As in cursed?
Cursed. It's just been cursed. So I'm currently it's exporting.
When's
uploading.
it due?
Uploading.
Is it going to be out by the time this is
It's going to be out on Friday. This Friday, so that's 2 weeks
So
ago.
you can tell us so give us a little spoiler.
Well, it is about painting 3 different schemes for Custodies. And I decided to pick the ones I like, which are the Shadow Keepers, which are the black ones.
They're
black
great.
armor
They're
ones.
the coolest.
Found a quick way of painting them. And then there's the Solar Watch, which are the ones with the white armor.
ones?
Yeah, the white
Yeah.
armor with the gold trim. Like painting them.
Sorry, I just know my sub-factions.
You
of
do, you
Custodies.
do, you're
Just
good.
FYI.
What's a custodian?
Do you like women or something? You like women?
And then there's the Aquilian Shield, or I keep calling them Aquilian something else. They've got purple robes.
Yes.
Those are also very cool.
They're pretty cool, but you can mix and match basically by following the different guys. Like I want red robes, not purple robes.
So big question. Did you put a lady
I
on?
put 2 ladies' heads on, and they're swapping it out. And I talk about at the start that I don't care if they're innies or outies, because it doesn't really matter if you've got innies
then
or
we're going to
outies.
start our new podcast, Minis with Innies.
Minis
and it's
with
just
Innies.
about spelled girl miniatures.
Minis with innies.
Minis with
Innies.
innies. That's a great title.
It is,
a great
but I'm
title.
not drawing much attention to it. I'm just like every now and again they just turn from a man to a woman.
It's just a normal thing, isn't it?
Absolutely
It's
normal in the
fine,
hobby.
and
So.
you're gonna
Can
be
you imagine?
okay.
Can you imagine if Games Workshop changed the law to things? Can you imagine that?
Honestly, I would die.
I know,
would
right?
just tell people on the internet that they should also die. Like, I would be so happy.
Hopefully, someone would come in and just tell you to talk about your cat, calm down, have a Mars
Just tell
bar.
tell us about the other cat. That's
what we can
pissed
hope
me
for.
off.
It's quite funny because I've never directly been involved in the creative process of specifically Games Workshop, but legitimately all 3 of you genuinely have.
At the same
Like-
time,
a
at
little
one point.
bit.
You have, haven't you? Because you make videos and stuff.
But
You direct it like a message.
that was selling the thing at the end of the
I guess
process,
so.
not like
I
doing
don't
anything.
Oh, I
before.
see.
Consider-
Like making a project from
Yeah,
start
yeah,
to finish.
yeah.
Got
Like
you.
I was delivering the product. Like I was never like
understand.
crafting.
I remember my favorite thing that you did, James, was that you
flowchart.
you put my name in a Blood Bowl book. It was
Did I?
Yes. It was Blood Bowl 2. What was it called? The one that we worked on
Death
first.
Zone?
Yes.
No,
And
yeah.
I think it was Death Zone 2.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And one of the elf head coaches is my name, but all mixed up. And
Really?
I was so happy when you did that. You don't remember. It meant so much.
Oh, that's adorable.
No, he must have done it
For
to
him,
all
it
the
was a
girls.
Tuesday.
I'm just stunned that you remember because it was such a meaningful thing for me.
Oh my God,
That's
there-
what that is there.
Well, that was-
He
I thought
forgot.
you were going to say
Oh,
the
it's
flowchart
fine.
because I did a flowchart on how Throne Teammate
yes.
works.
No, I remember that. Yeah. So I am chronically bad at playing Blood Bowl. And I play goblins, which have trolls, and I love throwing goblins. Cannot remember how it worked. So James made me a flowchart, which I think should have been in the
We
book.
tried to get it on the website.
Really?
It never happened or anything.
But it's so good.
Well, the thing is, because Blood Bowl has got, I think, here we go. I'm off on
I'm
one
ready.
now. Okay,
Yes.
so Blood Bowl, great game once you have crossed the big threshold to entry, right? It's like...
Is it how big? Because I think I got kind of like indoctrinated into Blood Bowl because everyone was doing it, and I painted goblins really quick at that time.
Yeah, so the thing with it is you've got a game which takes a very long time to play, and every decision you make has potential to really kick you in the nuts. You know, it will end your turn over immediately, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So to learn, to get to the point where you're enjoying Blood Bowl, you've got to learn how the rules work, and the rule book is written in this very, like, dense legalese. It's been written around the idea of covering every loophole and all this, and that's the sort of thing that is just not for any new players. It's a very comprehensive rule set, but you've got to get to the point where you've learnt the rules. Then you've got to get to the point where you start understanding what's a good decision or a bad decision.
I didn't get there.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's like,
no.
the order in which you do your things and all this. And then from there, it's like, well, what's a good strategic play? And then it's like, well, what are the big like tactics I should be using? So the number of steps you have to get to actually be good enough to enjoy the game is massive. And for me, a lot of it comes to the fact that, I mean, the game's been around for like nearly 30 years. It was an almost
Yeah,
untouched
for
rule
sure.
set. So it's just kind of, you know, built on that. And I know they did some stuff. I've not seen the most recent edition.
Me
but I get the
neither.
impression that it's still pretty much the same kind of foundation.
You'd probably have heard if they changed a lot, right? Like
I know
you would
they
have heard.
They brought in a throw stat, I think, but other than that, the rules are pretty much. It's like, now it's got a different hat rather than changing the fundamental shape of the thing.
Yeah,
you know?
for
If I'm not getting this right, and I'm sure the YouTube comments will tell me, I think star players are banned.
What?
Ooh.
That's quite. Are they?
What,
Yeah,
from
so-
like tournaments and stuff like that?
Yeah,
or-
so like, and
That's
James will be able to speak to this better than me, but do you know Blood Bowl? I'm sure you know this already. But you know Blood Bowl's the biggest game.
The biggest game.
It's bigger than 40k.
Is it?
Well, at least in
Player count,
at least
or-
in player count, reps, and the number of
Events-wise,
people.
or it's massive?
Events wise and numbers, and then like I've always kind of said that events are kind of like your tip of the iceberg for really understanding the hobby at a grander scale. Maybe more people engage with 40k.
I think more people engage with 40k, but I think more people rock up for a good like
Game
beer
of
and
Blood Bowl.
pretzel,
Yeah.
like fun.
But also,
time.
I'd like to know, like those people, how much are they changing, developing? Are they using the same team for 10 years?
Oh,
You know what
No, I
mean?
don't think so.
100.
Because it was the
I think
NAF
so.
was like the NAF was, which was last year World Championships, was 2,200 coaches.
Wow.
Well, it was
Wild.
I think
That's a
the year
lot.
before we started work on the one that came out in 2016, I think they had like 750 people for a game that had had no support for about nearly a decade. That's a lot of
well,
people.
no
lot of
support from
people.
Games
Yeah, yeah.
Workshop. for
Yeah,
a
sorry,
decade.
yeah, to be fair.
yeah.
So, but the rules hadn't really changed or adapted in that time. 750 people, I think they all travelled to Italy for it. It was this huge thing. And it's like, that's good numbers for a game that was effectively dead.
Dead.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think makes it? What do you think
Unsupported.
makes it successful?
Ooh.
Because Louise, you did art for Blood Bowl, right?
Yeah, I did. Well, I have like multiple Blood Bowl teams. I've played a lot of Blood Bowl, not well. For me, I liked the miniatures. I think it's really fun. I liked the gameplay style. I wasn't trying to like tactically kill a bunch of big things. I was like, I had my own agenda, which was always trying to do the 2-turn touchdown with goblins, which is essentially, do you know about this, right?
No, tell me.
Is it 2 turns? I think it's
Yeah.
it's 2 turns. So I would pick up a goblin with my troll.
Yeah.
You roll to see if the troll is hungry. And if he eats the goblin, if not, then he chucks the goblin. Maybe if he's not feeling really stupid.
There's a flowchart in this.
The flowchart, yeah. So is it really stupid? Pick up the goblin. Are you hungry? Don't eat the goblin.
and then you
it's
throw,
so
does
funny.
the goblin land? Does the goblin survive the landing?
Oh, yeah.
Where you want him to land?
Yes,
Does he
and
retain
then
the...
no, it's a 1-turn touchdown.
It's one turn, isn't it? Yeah.
You can get a 1-turn touchdown with goblin. So the goblin lands. Does he land? Yes. Does he survive the landing? Yes.
Yeah.
And then you can do a go for it. Is it called go for it? What's it
Go
called?
for it
when
like
you-
extended moves. I think it'd probably be, you'd have to have... It might be 2 turns, because I think you'd have to move your goblin to get the ball and to get to the troll. And then after he's
Oh
been
no,
thrown,
you already,
he's got to
I
move
already
again.
have the ball when he's getting chucked.
So, but I think that's why it's a 2-turn, because you wouldn't be able to move to get the ball and then
True,
move after
true.
the throw. to
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
But whatever the
so,
case,
and
it's-
then you go for it, and then I think I would always spend an extra point to go for it again. And if you can pull all of that off, you get a touchdown.
don't roll a 1, 2 goes in a row. And yeah, it's this
And
whole big thing.
it's
But
so
when it
fun.
works,
It's
it's incredible.
so
I'm wildly
fun.
triggered. This is like 13% of the time it works every time.
Yeah. And that's all I knew was just trying to do that. So it would just be me just like eating goblins, being like, I don't know why I'm not playing Blood Bowl. It's just-
Why is this not working? You know, but that's the thing. I think the reason it's so
stories.
popular
Like
is
I come up with stories like that, and that's hilarious.
it's got enough granularity and detail and weird stuff like kicking off that every game is surprising, you know. And once you get 2 people that know what they're doing, and you can get a game played in under
Not
2
me.
hours,
Not me.
you know, you kind of get this real fun, really engaging back and forth. Lots of like interaction of rules. It's very depth. It's very depth.
It's very
depth.
Yeah, it's so
extremely it's extremely depth.
Good
It's
depth.
It's got deep.
yeah.
It's giving deep.
It's giving deep. It's very depth.
Yeah, we're with it, aren't we? That's what I
what
need
the
to know.
kids
You see, I think it's an interesting one for me because I've never. People know if they've watched the channel and other stuff that I had a bit of a rubbish introduction into Blood
Oh,
Bowl,
I
which
didn't know
put
that.
me. Oh,
Tell me about
it was
it.
a
Tell me
lot. I
about
should
it.
get over it really.
I should get over a lot of things I'm
I
not
played
over.
one game. It was after a stock take, and we were all tired. And
What
it
was the year? You have to begin with the year
it was 2004 or
The year
5 or
was
something like
The
that.
year was
2004.
the 2 towers.
It was when it before it
No,
became a
as in-
specialist
as in
game with
2000 the
Forge
movie.
World. I suppose before you revamped.
so-
it would have been way before you revamped it. It would have been the older rules.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I was
2004.
at
That was
retail.
a
Yeah,
long
but
time ago.
my one of my colleagues ran me through, and it was so boring. I would
that's a
rather have just.
shame.
But that is what a lot of people.
Well, this is it. So that was
trying to
my
remember who taught
introduction.
me.
But the Ranger minis and stuff like that. There's so many of them, which I really like because being like a fantasy fan, I like to use them for other stuff.
And they're a bit wacky.
And they're a bit wacky.
I love the Blood Bowl
gnomes
teams.
with geese, battle geese.
Oh, have you seen
Battle
the
geese.
gnomes?
Yeah, I love them.
There's
Amazing.
like the teams as well. So like I have 2.5 Blood Bowl teams. I have 2 goblins, and I think I was starting to do the not the Noblar, what are they called, the little ones in a pump wagon.
Snotlings.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And I just had the best time painting the teams, and I made a whole diorama board for them. Like I was into
I remember
my
that.
teams. Yeah, that
Yes.
was great. And I called them, like, you get to like make up names for them and stuff, and you name every single one, and you name your team, and then it's like a competition of who has
they
the
level
funniest.
up and-
yeah.
yeah.
And then my guy fell in his chainsword, and that's like chainsword. I keep chainsaw. What was his name? The one with the chainsaw, the little stunty guy. I can't remember his name either. But either way, so like,
Rippable Grot,
and
maybe?
you managed to absolutely nail something which is really hard to do, which is keep a campaign going up
This
in a
was
studio.
the league before
the
it
league.
launched. Yeah, we did a league.
So James actually did the impossible and kept up a studio league
Wow.
until its finishing.
That might be your greatest achievement.
That might be, yeah. there was
literally.
one. Who was it? There was one person whose games were taking 3 times as long as everyone else's,
Me.
and it went in the newsletter as like, oh, after 3 weeks, this game finally ended.
Who was it?
So
It wasn't Keith, because he had his dwarves, so things
it
were
might have been
over.
Keith.
Was it Keith?
It might have been
Keith. I love Keith.
But yeah, and that was fun. That was one of the things we tried out, the idea of breaking a league down into smaller divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So what had always been the case traditionally was that you'd have like a big league, you play against everyone in the league, and it's kind of gradually peters out over time. We did a thing
It
of like break it
happens
down into
every single league you do in a studio.
Yeah,
always,
absolutely.
like, you lose players as of like the second week.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's come up because New Age Sigmar's launching soon.
Yes.
And they've showcased this new like spearhead format. And unsurprising to me, when I put a YouTube video out about it, I was like, I was very much like, this is the information, tell me what you think. And overwhelmingly, like crazy, all of the responses were, this is absolutely how I'm going to play. Me and my friends.
That's cool.
This is it. Like even
And it's what is Spearhead again? It's just
you just buy a starter box.
Love.
And this should be exactly the format that you want. You go into a Games Workshop store, you buy a starter box, your friend buys a starter box, and you battle them against each other.
That's
that should
cool.
be exactly what the game is.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm inspired by that. Like, I feel like, okay, I could definitely do that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then I think they've tried harder than they did with Combat Patrol, which had some big balance issues. But the kind of point I was trying to make is that when that should be exactly what you want out of a game system, to be able to pick up 2 boxes and just play them against each
That's
other.
like how Warcry works. You get well,
You get a box.
initially they weren't 1,000 points in each box, weirdly, but then
Underworld did the same thing.
Yeah,
Here's
but-
a box.
But the bit is, all the comments are like, we're gonna, this is our game system, and I was like, okay, cool, that's great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is it going to be exactly like you said, where like it's a D&D campaign where like do you want to do a D&D campaign, and everyone's like, I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, and then
Yeah.
it just fizzles out
And
after
it just
2
it
weeks.
fizzles out maybe before it even starts.
Yeah.
You got to
Right.
keep it fun. So James used to do like actual in-world newsletters
I did.
every single week,
Look at you.
which we posted
still got
on
them
like
all.
he'd print
Nice.
them out and he'd put them up on like the fridge. We had
did.
it was the cabinet.
It was
in
the cabinet, not the
Forgery,
fridge,
yeah.
not the fridge of doom where people weren't
Oh
meant to
my
put
God,
food. And they
yeah,
always did.
there was like
Why?
an
Probably
ancient.
just had resin in it,
and
right?
stuff. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
that
Every
makes
Christmas
sense.
it was full of
Tony's
cheese.
secret cupboard.
Yeah. No, it was the hazardous materials cabinet. And yeah, everyone would crowd around it. It felt like a little water cooler
and it
sort of
kept
thing.
everyone motivated because I was like, I want to be in the newsletter next week. I want to beat that guy that's all fancy. In
I used to
the
get people to
newsletter.
email me their highlights and I'd put them in as like,
Yeah. And it was honestly so fun. Like you worked really hard to keep people motivated, and it paid off. And then we stopped like work for like not half a day, but like half an hour to do the awards ceremony that Andy
Half a
did.
day.
Did we?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. We properly was like, sorry everyone, stop sculpting. We're doing the awards ceremony.
important stuff.
Oh, that's great.
Little trophies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there were little
Amazing.
trophies, and I still have was it Galante's choice for like the best looking army,
you're
and
right,
also
yeah.
my wooden spoon.
Yay!
That's a pairing you often get. Not you specifically, but
Prettiest
generally.
army,
Generally,
but also
yeah.
worst
Come first
player.
or come last. That's what I always say.
But yeah, I love that. I think you absolutely smashed
I
that.
did 2 choices.
I think so. Interestingly, that was one of the first things you and I worked on together. Remember, it was the first Warhammer TV live stream, I think.
Was it?
It was. I
was
think
very
it was like
early.
this. I think it was the second live
Second.
stream. I did an Age of Sigmar stream to try the tech out, and then Blood Bowl stream after.
And it was,
yeah.
That was fun.
It
We had
was-
someone next to the thing texting us updates of what was happening.
Table
Couldn't quite
boss.
see.
This is a little Robism, which is a pretty fun bit
I
of
want
Rob
to hear
lore.
more Rob deep lore.
No, this
from,
is just
like,
a one. So whenever you
Like
live
the
stream a
Rob deep
game
lore.
of Warhammer specifically, because it's an incredibly analog game,
Yeah.
you need someone to tell you what's happening. Obviously, you can mic up the players, but then that kind of defeats the purpose of having commentators, right? So we have someone who stood at the table telling people information, but it's generally a pretty shit job.
What, being
right?
a table boss?
But I called it being the table boss, and it's so funny when you give them
Wait,
the
did
boss
you,
title.
Did you come up with that name?
Yes, of course. That's my
Oh
name.
my god!
And I was like, "You're the table boss," and they were like, "I'm the boss." Oh, all right,
Yeah,
I'll take this seriously.
Oh my
now
God.
I'm the
Matters,
boss.
right?
So
Yeah.
Rob does that with me. Whenever he wants me to like do the dishes, he's like, "Louise, you're
boss.
the boss of doing the dishes." And guess what?
I bet it works.
It doesn't fucking work.
She's
Absolutely
wise.
not.
She's wise.
She's
Yeah.
wise.
Now you know.
Yeah.
But like that, and then I was freaking out because I'd worked on Blood Bowl for a while, but obviously most of the job I had was the first thing I did in the specialist studio, and they'd already done it. I just kind of came in and I added some typos or something, and I knew that it was going to be watched by a lot of people. And I know Blood Bowl.
It was
but
a lot
I
of
don't
pressure.
know Blood Bowl, you know. So I had so many notes on everything. I'd copied out their team rosters and I was like, all this stuff, trying to sound insightful. Because I suppose you still want that, you know, the colour commentary and the stats commentary, all that sort of thing. You want to give the
I
full
remember
package.
you being under a lot of pressure to like, because like it's like going into a fandom where
Yeah.
people have been into like Star Wars or something for 50 years,
Yeah.
and then you have to write a Star Wars book. You like Star Wars a little bit, but you know there's going to be these people being like, "We're watching."
That makes
you."
sense.
I'm really glad we didn't do the original plan.
What was the
which,
original
again, this all
plan?
happened before I joined the team. Because
Yeah.
I'd accepted the job. Then there was a chunk of time when I was still working in that studio upstairs. Did Gore Chosen in that time. That was fun.
I remember Lord
best
Chosen. That
one.
was
Best
so
game.
fun.
Best game I've done.
Best game.
What was good
Really?
about it? What did you like,
Weeks.
Peach?
I've never played it.
So it's simple, straightforward. Everything's in the box. Even the box is the arena, right?
Even the box is in the box.
The box is in the box,
Yeah,
right? The
perfect.
box is the arena. But what I do like, and a great mechanic, is when your character gets killed, you flip your card round, you still get to do stuff.
Fun.
So
What do you get to do with a dead character?
Or it's things like either
audience.
you can have the crowd doing stuff, interfering. You
oh
can
my god, it's like wrestling.
yeah, and you
Yeah,
roll a
yeah,
d6. And on a 6, your character lurches back up and does one last attack.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like
Or might do
everyone's
that again and
angry
again
that
and
you
again.
killed your character, so they start like chucking
It's
stuff.
great.
That's so
which is a bit
fun.
of
It's
fun.
like
It was-
wrestling.
It's a cracking little game. We
Yeah.
should play it.
We should play it.
we should totally
we'll
play
do
it.
it.
should
Yeah.
play it.
I
We've got
love
enough
that.
cameras.
It's 4 players, so I mean, I don't know if...
Should I say
oh,
you
wait a
got
second.
control?
Oh, hang on.
We can do this.
But yeah, so in that time, they'd been discussing the plans for Blood Bowl, and the original plan was, I'm going to dive into the deep Blood Bowl lore here. So
Oh, no.
Blood
Yeah,
Bowl,
I love it. I love it.
in like the mid noughties, went to the Fnatic studio, which was they covered all the specialist games, and they had an online living rulebook, and they had a rules committee, and the idea was they would gradually update and change, and you get a rulebook with a bunch of text in red. Which
Yeah.
when we use is like, that's what we use for playtest conventions these days. But like, oh, this is edition 7. Now this bit of text has changed to this, and so you got this whole like ongoing set of changes, which were like, refining and improving the game. When the first when we first decided we were going to redo Blood Bowl, say we, when the people,
Yeah.
I still say we all
Yeah,
the
it's
time.
weird, isn't
Don't
it?
worry. It's fine. It's fine.
they
Because
were
you're
like,
Scottish.
Yeah, it is.
they decided they might not be able to use that text because they didn't know who owned it or something.
Oh, wow.
Because it was and so they wanted to roll back to the.
owns rules.
I don't think you can copyright rules, or it's really hard.
You cannot copyright rules. There's a really interesting thing about that, but I won't go into it.
Okay.
Because
Darn
please
it.
do, later,
Darn
please do.
it.
okay, I'm putting a pin in that one and come back
Okay,
to that.
okay. We're on Blood Bowl. Yeah,
you
yeah.
never
we're there.
return.
No. If I forget, I'll do it as a YouTube comment. But yeah, so they wanted to roll back to the 4th edition rules, which were
Yeah.
before that, and it was like that's the last edition that GW had put out as a book, and that would have been such a step backwards. And I was like, if we'd done that, the community would have been just
Oh,
furious,
yeah, literally.
as opposed to just angry with us, So
As opposed
we've got
to
a
just
lesser
one
of
death
2
threat.
things. Yeah, so my pin. There's a dice game called Bang, which is about, it's like cowboy shooty game.
That's fun.
Made by an Italian company. And about 10, 15 years ago, a Chinese manufacturer took the entire game, reskinned it and sold it. And it went to the High Court in the US, who decided that, yeah, it's fine. Because they changed the artwork. They changed all the narrative text.
So it was
they decided that,
far enough from the source material.
yeah, they said rules text cannot be copyrighted, which is what I mean. The thing is, you look at things like Words with Friends, all the different Monopoly clones.
But all
that
the Monopoly
level-
clones are owned by Monopoly, aren't they?
Well, no, because like
They
you might
have
get
the
They don't have the
Monopoly.
monopoly anymore.
But yeah, that's so. Why has no one done that with War? Have people done that with?
I've done that.
Warhammer?
I've done it all the time with Lord of the Rings. I make
There
my
you
own
go.
rules up all the time.
Yeah, I think, and then you come to the thing is, it would be the sort of thing where you could do it, but actually, I
you gonna
don't know.
get
The
out of
question
it?
is, what is the thing that? How is it transformative? I think is the term that gets
Yeah,
used
that's.
in
I
copyright.
think you've used that term before. It's like it needs to be transformative enough
Yeah.
from the source material.
But in that, it was decided that because the written rules were such a small part of the thing.
the product.
I think I've said it wrong. It might have been that it wasn't the written rules. They'd kept the game design the same, but changed the way the rules were worded. That was
Oh,
it. Because they decided the
okay.
game design can't be copyrighted.
Yeah.
The written text can be, so you can't resell the same text. But you can't say, oh, here's a game where every turn you roll a bunch of dice and this thing happens. In this, you could take the exact set of mechanics, redo it, and that's in America at least. There's precedent that is legal.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Very,
like-
very interesting.
it's like-
Time to reskin Warcry.
I know. Well, this is,
No, we're time to make something similar to Warcry. That's what you meant to say.
That's exactly what I meant to say. Thank you,
were
Rob.
we-
Battle yell.
battle yell. What were we saying before that?
knows?
It was something Blood Bowl.
Well, actually, we actually started out with Peachy, how was your week? Which is incredible.
And I never did get to finish, but
So I'm gonna bring us back, Peachy. Like finish us off. How,
so yeah, the video is cursed.
Yeah.
It's
Custodies.
probably not going to do very well.
Custodies.
Or chances are it probably will do very well. But yeah, it's got ladies in it, and
Are you expecting the shitty comments?
I am, but I can't see how it would be because I don't really draw that much attention
They
to
don't
it.
care.
Yeah, and also I don't care because they're just toy soldiers.
Yeah.
So really, I'm not really
So
that
there's a
bothered.
fly.
And I
Oh,
pin the head so I can have helmets or not helmets.
Oh, that's fun.
There you go.
But yeah, Blood Bowl.
Oh no! Well, like, and the technical problems, like, because again, one of the things, James, that I'm quite excited about, like, for the regular show, is that like it's really interesting listening to Louise and Peachy go on this like creative journey, and also. And I said this a few weeks ago on the show, or maybe I said it on stream, but actually you're really inspirational to me.
Oh, look at us all with our James story.
But you're really
James
inspirational
love.
to me because I think one of the things that I think you should be really proud of as an external observer is that you have gone from Games Workshop, which like writing rules for Games Workshop is like the show, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're at the party.
it should
like,
be the dream job, right?
yeah, exactly. Which is similar to all of us, like, you know,
We
that
all thought
story.
it would be the
But you
dream.
left, and then you've been on this journey of developing yourself as a creative, and I think that's actually really inspirational because, like, not just can I get paid to write rules, but can I design the next best game? Is very different. It's because, like, Games Workshop, it doesn't matter how good or bad the next Games Workshop codex is,
Yeah.
or who wrote it, and
people
that's
are
no
gonna buy
disrespect
it,
to the people
right?
who wrote it, but that doesn't matter. But you are going to live, like, and literally eat off designing games well,
Yeah.
and you should be really proud of yourself that you're getting hired for bigger and better jobs to continuously
I've
do
got
that.
something to add to that as well. So when you were on the painting phase and we interviewed
Yeah.
you, you made a really good observation about workshop rules. Workshop rules are mechanics to sell miniatures, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to be the best rule system. Whereas now, I guess you get to with certain games. I
want
suppose
your
at
rules
Workshop,
to.
like Silver Tower, Gorchos, and that was just like
Yeah.
fun games. But now you get to write the cool
I mean,
stuff.
yeah,
you
the
wanna do.
thing was always like, this needs to be a set of rules so that this functions as a game and then can be sold as a game. That was the brief, yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me now, it's much more about, you know, making a game I want to see. And don't get me wrong, sometimes there are still jobs where it's like, oh, this just needs to be a thing that works.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I get to have that backup.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
So
yeah.
Silver Tower, for example, I pushed at Silver Tower. Like, I
Did you do Silver Tower?
I did do Silver
But I
Tower.
love Silver Tower.
there you go.
My favorite
Perfect.
bit in Silver Tower is that mini game where you have to roll the dice and then stack them all up on top of
There's
each other.
loads
where
of little,
where the little pit is showing on. I still play that when I'm bored and I have like
Amazing.
5 dice. It's my favorite.
Did
it's
you
my
do the one where
favorite
you have
mechanic.
to put the dice on top of the treasure deck and try to get the top card off without
Yes,
spilling any
I
dice?
love just the mini games in Silver
Amazing.
Tower is my favorite part about Silver Tower. But yeah, the dice one, I still play it if I have 5 dice.
Did you have anything to do with Blackstone Fortress?
No, I've not played it. I'd like to play
'Cause I
it 'cause it
feel
feels
that
like
they-
it's the evolution of it.
It's very good.
because
It's very
I feel
good fun.
that when you're in the lift and you're waiting between missions,
Yeah.
stuff like that is a very similar sort of thing.
Oh, cool.
I just used to sing the elevator music.
There's a lift.
Yeah, it's from
you
one
have to
going-
wait between like getting a lift up the stairs. And
That
you get-
sounds phenomenally boring. Would you like to play this board game with me? Yeah, the lift section will be your favourite.
It actually was my favorite.
Comes with a cassette of elevator music, that'd be great.
I quite, but yeah, like that was so fun. I love Silver.
But the thing
Tower.
was, that was my sort of love letter to playing Warhammer Quest as a kid, and loving these kind of really narrative games, but also going, well, the settings, it's in the Silver Tower, it's like the Tzeentch madness.
It's the wacky
let's,
warehouse.
Let's make that a thing.
Yeah.
And like subvert expectation. That was not part of the brief. They wanted, give us a game that uses these miniatures. You've got 2 months, whatever it might have been.
Oh, crikey, that is not long.
No, I think it was probably 2, 3. But I worked all the hours. I was doing late night playtesting, getting people involved. And because I wanted to make a thing that was really, really cool and really different and exciting, I wanted people to play it and go, oh, that's feels like Warhammer Quest, but also unlike anything we've played before. It feels
magical and whimsical, like in the Silver Tower.
Yeah, there's a moment where your playing pieces can realise they're in a game. It's utterly stupid.
That.
I love it, and because of the nature of the game, you can play through it, and there'll be stuff even if you've played start to finish. There'll be stuff you haven't seen that someone else will go, "Have you seen this?" You go, "What? How did that happen?" And so I really enjoyed that. But it was because. I wanted to make my mark and do things, and now I have the ability to do that more, which is fantastic.
Amazing.
So thank you.
It's just
no, thank you.
James. Thanks for being an inspiration. I think that's true.
No, for real. Like I always enjoyed working with you and stuff, just to get soppy for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was always fun because for people that don't know, me and James used to work in the same studio on the same projects. I was sad.
What
when
did
you
we
left.
work on together?
We worked a lot. It was mostly Blood Bowl. I don't know if you were there for Necromunda in the early years. I think you'd gone by that time.
If you read the reports online, what I did was I handed over Necromunda half finished, leapt out a window. Doing this
I've heard this.
Which is very Necromunda of you.
Exactly.
Very
Landed in a sump-like swamp. Yeah,
you didn't.
I handed it over at the end of the deadline, and then I left like a week or two after that. But I'd said, hey, any problems with layout and things,
let me know. Yeah.
No
Do you want to come back for my Necromunda conspiracy theory show one day?
I've got a great.
We need to do this, Rob. We need to do this.
Because a lot of the comments on this. But basically, I read one of the most recent Necromunda books, and it just feels like the subtext of him is whoever's writing it is just taking shots at workshop,
like subtly taking work.
in the text.
I love it.
But anyway, we'll read it out on another show.
But if you're watching this Necromunda team, and you are, put someone in a green jumper in the next book.
Just you saying that you know what's really interesting? You've worked with James, I've worked with James, but we've never all worked in the same team together.
We're doing it right now.
Have we not?
No.
We've not. No, because I worked with Peachy upstairs in
Books and Box Games.
Yeah,
it would have been Blackstone Fortress if it was anything, because that would have been something exactly.
Yeah.
But that would have been the one that we all would have come together on.
Yeah.
Oh, and Rob too.
I worked with all of you at some point during the process.
Oh, look
but
at
I
that.
literally worked with everybody. I was like third or fourth week in, like doing product briefs to like the CFO. I was like, this is what live streaming is. And she was like, I just don't. She literally said, I don't care, and signed it and gave it me back.
Oh my God, that's so bad.
I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just showed her a graph with a number that went up, and she was like, go do that.
I just felt like every time I bumped into you, you just looked a little bit more like twitchy, a little bit more stressed, like the blanket was being pulled back slowly,
I only met Rob I think once whilst I was working at Games Workshop, and he live streamed me playing. I think it was like the first game of 7th edition or
8th. No,
was it 8th?
Edition?
I think it must have been 8th, and I cheated so bad.
It's fine.
I teleported an entire squigoth, and then I didn't want to go on camera. I like my villain origin story that includes Rob. Okay. So the first ever time I was on Warhammer TV, do you remember this?
I do.
Okay, good. The first ever time I was on Warhammer TV, I didn't want to go on Warhammer TV. I wanted to play a game. I was cool with the top down playing a game, but I was like, I don't want to go on camera. I hate that. I hate that more than anything. And Rob was like, don't worry. I really respect you and your boundaries. That's absolutely fine.
But the entire time I was like, the whole alternative girl wants to play. That's great. The entire time.
Robert. But anyway, so he listened to me and took me seriously as a human, is what we're saying.
I absolutely did.
So I play my game and stuff. I finish. Rob's like, did you know you're not allowed to do that? I was mortified. So I really didn't want to go on camera even more. So he's like, don't worry, I'm just going to ask you a few questions. I'm not going to turn the camera on. Just sit here next to him in the presenting chair. Going to ask you a few, then you can bugger off, and I'll just tell everyone what you did. And I was like, well, okay. So I sit next to Rob, and he's like, 3, 2, 1, and he just fucking presses the button.
Yeah.
And you can see my face just go.
I interviewed so many people at Workshop and Live, and like that had never been interviewed, and they were all like, after a while, like you said, I became a little bit like of a trench. Shout out to all my trench buddies. I became a bit of like a harrowed like soldier on the front lines, and I was just like, I was just getting people from different departments. Like, you're on the stream next week, and they were like, I've never done it. They would sit down and be like, I'm so nervous. I'll be like, listen,
I was
like,
nervous.
it's all going to be fine. Just press a button, and I just.
It wasn't fine. You can see me pissing myself. This video's still up there, and you can see me just being like, and then there's this really cute bit where Rob cuts it to like the hold screen, but he doesn't cut the audio, and you can hear him going, there, see, that wasn't so bad. And I'm like,
You see, what I found with Warhammer TV was that never changed after you left, right? Because you knew the rules, you knew what was going off. So when you left, they just got random people like me and Duncan to do presenting.
oh yeah, they started doing Hangout and Paint after Rob.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. But it was like there'll be a game going on. So there was Martin Morin versus Phil Kelly playing a battle, and they had like a headset, and I had the headset, and I couldn't hear it. So me and Duncan were talking, trying to talk about the game, and I had this going off in my ear, and I was like, I have no idea what anyone's saying right now. There's just too much noise.
Just zoom in on your face.
So in the end, me and Duncan didn't know what was going on in the game, so we just started making impressions up and just saying what we thought was going on.
That's funny. I don't know.
That is funny. Like if you picture it the other way, right? Like it's all about the level. You could have like I said before. One of my favorite things I would like to do in the future is have two people play a game and then just have two people roasting them at the side. We kind of did this all
in the Muppets, the two old Muppets.
Yeah, that would be so funny. So that they could hear it. Like when we were
that they could hear.
When we were at Castle.
Oh my god,
that was kind of
when Joe ate a lot of hallucinogenic chocolate.
So many hallucinogens.
And then decided to do
we went to Pennsylvania to like this private event in a castle. Louise made a video about it.
You can watch the video.
Our friends flew us over. They're all wonderful people. And my friend Joe, shout out to Joe.
Love you, Joe.
Joe was just like, Rob, can I commentate with you? They were like, I was live streaming. These are some of the best players in the world who are having like their weekend away.
Noah was like, I think the
LVO champ at the time.
Yeah, huge.
And so like they were all playing. It was super fun, but it's also like this big family atmosphere. It's completely private. It's just them. And then Joe was like, can I commentate with you? I was like, absolutely fine. And he's like, I'm on a wicked amount of hallucinogens. So I was like, then that sounds great. Yeah.
I came and I did commentary with you.
You came and you commented with me. It was super fun.
But like that, I think that dynamic was quite fun because I was like, well, Rob, that looks like a big guy. What does he do?
Yeah, that was my experience of everyone at Workshop.
That's the thing. I mean, like, you look at like sports commentating, which is, I'm not into sports despite having kept working on sports games. But like you often always get like the person who is there for the stats and the detail.
The knowledge guy.
The colour and the personality. And that works. That's a really winning combination.
The colour and personality.
You're the colour and personality. Congratulations.
How are you doing at the minute anyway?
Yeah, how was your week?
Look at you. You're doing it. It's only taken us 42 minutes to find out how everyone is.
Well, I forgot that I was a human. I was just enjoying being in this podcast room and talking.
Perfect.
What was the question?
How are you?
How's your week been?
Hello, boys. I'm good. What have I been doing? I've been doing loads. So I had a slow month last month because we had Salute and a bunch of other things. And I feel like I'm getting my shit back together now, which is great. So I just released a video, Robert Symes.
I saw something fall.
It's okay, don't worry. It's fine.
So I just released a video which is about me trying to fix the Bretonnian Lord miniature. Do you know the one that they released recently? Well, not so recently, in January, which everyone was like, this is the ugliest miniature in the world. Well, I thought that was mean of them. So I decided to do a video where I fixed it. And I was honestly really nervous about the reception. because it's the first time I've been like, not critical, but like ever so slightly critical of anything Games Workshop's done. And I've never done that publicly before because I am scared. I'm very scared. It went great. Yeah. It's gone so much better than I imagined because in the video, I'm like, I talk a bit about crediting. I'm like, the sculptor of the miniature is a guy called Martin Footit.
Yep.
And he is a great sculptor who has sculpted loads and loads of modern miniatures. But since Games Workshop really sporadically credit their artists, the only article which I think has his name in it is this one for the Bretonnian Lord, which everyone was like, this is the ugliest miniature ever. And now it's like there's a chance that people might just be like, oh, Martin, he's the guy that sculpted the ugly miniature, instead of being like, he's the guy that sculpted all the other incredible miniatures that he did. And I don't think that's fair. So partially I was like, y'all are being mean. This isn't fair. He has no control to go online and say, hey, look at all this other stuff. And now you're being mean about his like literal test sculpt he did in 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yes. That was never supposed to be released, I don't think. But most of it was just me being like, I don't think that the paint job did the miniature much favors. And I felt really mean doing that because I know who painted it. So, and they were my friend and they were a great painter. But I think there were just some things that I think didn't work out. But by the time I painted it, mine didn't. My one was worse. So I was like, everyone wins.
It wasn't fine.
Everyone wins.
But that's what you would do. Like if in a collaborative process, I assume as painters, I'm sure one of you would paint something similar. Like, I think you should do a different thing.
Like
you would,
for, right?
you would do feedback, right?
And the comments have been so balanced. Like loads of comments are like, I prefer the original paint job. I prefer your paint job. I think both are good in different ways. I like the sculpt. It's been it's like the most reasonable Warhammer discussion currently happening on the internet.
Nice.
I'm so proud.
But
like I was
talking
really
about
scared.
the feedback thing. You made a great observation, which is like the circlet, because you talk about the hair being quite yellow, the skin tone being quite yellow, the circlet's gold, so it all becomes like a shapeless mass.
Yes.
So there's really useful stuff that you can pull away from. Yeah, granted, maybe there was some like technical things that you were pointing out that this person's done better than you.
Yeah.
And
a load of people are like, I prefer the yellow hair and skin tone and stuff like that to your skin tone. So it's just been so reasonable.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they all always have to be photoed against white really like just changes the concept of everything. Like they're not trying to present it, well, they're trying to present it the best, but they're like, but don't worry, it has to be white.
Well, they got to show it on white for like the website and stuff. It's just for consistency, I think, and that's fine. But one of the issues, and I know Peachy, before you left, you were trying to like get this fixed, is that they also get photographed. One miniature get photographed by like 5 different studios, meaning
Seven.
that yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Is this true?
Explain this, Peachy. Explain this, because I get lost in the sauce.
Such a headache at the time. So when I was the photography manager, you'd have miniatures. There'll be a miniatures photographer who would take the golden angle photo.
Yeah.
Shot on white
I also
of
have
that
a video
miniature
about that if you want
for
to watch
the
it.
packaging. But then because no one shared resource, because they all had their own sort of like drives that were all secure,
Different studios.
that Books and Box Games had to do their own shot on white. The web had to do their own. It's all from the same angle. It's the same model.
Yeah.
In the same angle, being photographed 7 different times.
This can't be
seven.
real. I mean, I've worked there and I know it's real, but it can't be real.
If you look at the web store,
Time wasted. Absolute. Used to do my head in so much.
Yeah.
It's my one biggest criticism of that department was just like the fact you was not sharing resource, just reshooting stuff that's already been shot.
I'd be such a baby. Like if I'd photoed the mini and then someone else was like, no, I'm photoing it. I'm like, I've done this.
Yeah.
Like here's the photos.
But we've got to find it first.
But the problem there is you've got people going, no, that's mine. You can't take that. It's this is not photographers.
So
this is just the department.
Here, I've got,
mad.
this is a different photograph at the exact same angle as that. But it's a different photograph, which is different from that, which is different from all of the ones that they put. Like, it's different from that.
Oh my God.
It's
I mean, it might
and
have
they're all
changed
the
a bit
same
now,
angle.
but
then you get inconsistencies with things like lighting, quality, graininess, and stuff like that. Which
you know what the worst bit is?
What?
It's because it gets handled so much that paint gets flicked off.
Hairs start going
assemblies
on.
get broken and stuff. So when they like a heads come off and they reglue the head, it's at the slightly
and you
wrong
can
angle.
see like the little
Bit of
line.
blue tack as well. Yeah.
Oh, the blue
I have
tack.
something to admit.
What? Oh no, Rob.
Don't worry, everyone did it. It's fine.
I
But I'm
haven't.
going to admit anyway.
It was high school. You were experimenting. It's fine.
Jimmy, I'll always love you.
You never call me that anymore.
I was carrying Mortarian for a video. And because they don't glue on everything, do they?
Not in Forge World, they
pins.
don't.
Well, no, it wasn't Mortarian. It wasn't Forge World. It was plastic or Citadel.
There's a lot of sub-assemblies.
Yeah, and the head just fell off.
Yeah.
And I was like, it didn't break or anything.
If
but
it
I
was
was like,
Ferrus Manus, I'd find that hilarious.
I mean, that would be very funny. But then I was just like, let's put it back on. And I was like, oh no. But it probably happens all the time.
No, I used to glue.
I only broke one miniature in my entire time being a photographer. So handling miniatures every single day for years. I dropped one Titanicus miniature, and I think it was one of the little knights. What were they? The little green ones?
Yeah,
just
okay,
one of the
yeah,
teeny tiny
yeah.
ones. And I got it up on a shelf, and it just fell out my hand.
It's easy done though.
And-
I broke more than that. And it wasn't even my job.
Which one?
Oh, so many. Half a Necron army, as I recall, at one point.
Yeah. I mean,
Unpainted, though, I think. No, it was painted, I think.
doesn't
maybe.
matter what you broke.
Who knows? Yeah,
It got fixed.
Stuff.
I was
Most of my things
mortified.
didn't break
Easy.
because they were glued properly.
With super
There you go. whoever he's taking a shot at.
I still feel sorry for Steve and Tom. They did a Custodes army and this guy dropped it twice.
What? How do you drop it twice?
Dropped it. They picked it up and then just in front of him, just
Yeah,
dropped
a
it
guy
again,
caught
holding
it.
eye contact the entire
And
way.
then like, oh, sorry, let me get those for you.
Again.
Oh, wait.
we love him. We love Mark, but it was a photographer for a short space of time, and it was all resin, so it wasn't plastic. So we'd done the Custodes army for books and box games.
Yep.
So Steve and Tom had put a lot of heart and soul into it, and he
Obviously.
was holding it in one hand and trying to get the door across the bridge of Khazad Doom because some idiot was then, you can't go for this door anymore because it's secure. It's like, but we're all the same level of security. We're all
the same.
We're all seeing the same sort of thing
That
at the same
attitude won't
time.
get you anywhere at Games
Well,
Box.
no, apparently not. So instead of
How dare
going
you.
through one door to get to the photography studio, you had to go through 5 or 6 doors because you had to go all the way out of publications.
Yeah, you couldn't
across
go. You couldn't do the
the
shortcut.
bridge, then
Yeah.
go through the canteen to then go through 2 double doors
forgotten
which are
that.
really close
That
to
was
each
so
other
stupid.
to then get to the photography studio. But inevitably he dropped the army, which happens, it's fine. Most of it was
does.
glued very well, so he just bounced. He comes back with this pile of stuff going, I'm really sorry I've dropped it. Steve and Tom
At
fixed
least he
it.
came back. Like
Yeah,
a lot of people
Yeah.
try and fix
Although
it.
I've got a thing about that as well. I know this is not talking about James, but this could be for another podcast.
Sorry, James.
But
this
yeah,
is
he
our
fixed
show
it,
now.
got it all fixed, and then I was just like, just be careful. And he was like, yeah, it's fine, because he was so worried about doing it. He did the exact same thing
Oh,
again
bless
at the
him.
exact same door, so we got him a trolley so we could push it.
The little
But that makes
special
sense, though.
trolley.
Like,
Little
a trolley feels like a
special
sensible
trolley.
thing to have, like, rather than balance.
Maybe
I
you
would
should have
agree.
started as a trolley.
But
Yeah.
the trolleys were what we call the bone shakers, so just like
no.
tuk, 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 tuk,
Yeah.
tuk, tuk, so everything was just like bouncing inside of
Oh,
it. So they were a bit,
Oh dear.
bit
Yeah.
naff, but yeah.
So the response to the video has been good.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's been super balanced, super nice.
Good.
Loads of people, like I said, saying they prefer the studio paint job. And like, it's just like the most good introduction to, I think, people doing good critique. Because sometimes and I've got this thing on my Discord that says, if someone's not asked for their miniature to be critiqued and they're showing it off, don't critique it. And I felt really bad because I kind of did that, right? I kind of did that with the studio miniature. Like, I know who painted it. He didn't ask for me to tell him.
Yeah, but they're not credited now, so no one knows.
I know, but I still felt really bad. So, like, I wanted to try and do it in the best way possible because it is a fun idea for a video to take a miniature that everyone said was ugly and try and make it pretty.
And I
Like,
think when it's like a commercially released thing and put out, at that point that's open to critique
I
whether
feel-
whether the person did it off.
I
Yeah,
know,
they've released
I know.
it as art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still felt bad. But I'm glad that people are taking it in the right spirit.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
one's
that's really
been
good.
like, how dare you try and do this when like you couldn't do any better or anything like that. Everyone's just been like, hey, I really like your paint job, but I think this color scheme shows off the mini better. And it's just been real great. So I'm super happy with that.
Wait until this airs, people were jumping in with some.
By the time this airs, it'll be long gone. And in that time, I probably will have released a couple more videos. My
Fun.
next one I'm working on is going to be about my Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl signatures.
nice.
Which are sold out, apparently.
Sold out in the
Before
US,
you've
I
even
think.
made
They sold out at Adapticon in one day.
Yep.
They
And
sold
then
out
as I
twice
under-
at Adapticon.
And then twice. They drove back to the factory Saturday night, went and
think
bought
so.
more,
I don't
and
remember.
then sold out of those, and then they put them all online, and then sold out of that. And didn't Jason?
Jason. Lovely Jason.
Jason was like, that pigment doesn't. There's no more pigment.
Oh yeah,
He's like, we
I
can't
think
make any more
it's-
paint. There's
I
no
think
more
it's-
pigment.
I think it's dark turquoise. Ooh, fat
Amazing.
fly. I think it's dark turquoise that is just like sold out. Like they're like, we are making it from
They're
scratch.
like waiting for
again.
the flowers to grow for more pigment.
Oh my days.
So it is going to be released in the UK, I think, by the time this video comes out. So I thought I'd wait until like everyone can have it before I do a
Yeah,
fun video on it.
that makes sense.
And it's going to be cool because it's all going to be about color mixing because, and again, we were talking about last week, the how to do like good titles for videos. So my paint range has red, it has all the primary colors in it and CMYK.
Yeah.
CMY.
Yeah,
Not K.
CMY.
I don't know what K stands for.
I've always wondered that.
Colors.
Yeah, I've always wondered that.
But,
I think it's just the last letter in black because blue's already got
yeah,
blue.
yeah.
Maybe it's that. Anyway, so
makes
it's got
sense.
all the colors. So technically, I should be able to mix every single paint in the world. So I'm going to get like 7 paints out of box at random and see if I can recreate them using my paint range plus black
This is
and
one of your
white.
favorite things, right?
I
Doing that.
love paint matching. I love paint mixing and I love paint matching. I follow like a bunch of TikTok people that do it as well.
What are your primaries? Are they proper primaries?
Yeah. Oh, you should see. It's so it's ultramarine blue. So single pigment, ultramarine blue.
Hate those guys.
Single pigment bismuth yellow.
Me too.
So single pigment yellow.
Lovely.
It has got a goblin green in it. So that's like the only not
You couldn't not though, surely.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's got like my version of goblin green, which is like a little bit more saturated. And then it's got turquoise, which is a bit darker than I think CMYK turquoise, but it's good. It's got magenta as well.
Nice.
And am I missing one? It's
it orange? No.
Oh, no, that's the red. So yeah, it's got, and a red. Yes, which is like orangey, brightest bright red.
Nice.
So
I look forward to seeing that.
it's so exciting. I'm so hyped to see people finally getting it and to be able to like actually do a video about it because it's gonna be so fun. And then I'm gonna build the D&D kit for Lego.
Lego.
Oh, and if the creator of the D&D kit is watching this, because I know they are
Yes.
jugheads. I'm calling
They're
them
a jughead.
They're
Jugheads.
jugheads.
They're a jughead.
Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on our jugs as well.
Shout out to all the jugheads.
Yes.
Shout out to all my jugheads in
Perfect.
the chat. Rob,
Thanks for coming.
what you doing?
Yeah, what you been doing?
What you doing?
What have I done this
What you
week?
up to?
I've been making a lot of goblins.
Yeah.
As you do.
So we've got lots of goblins on the mix, which is fun. If anyone doesn't know, I manufacture Louise's goblins, which is cool. We just did we've been working on some terrain as well, which has been fun. Content-wise, I don't actually know if I made any videos this week. I've live streamed through the week. We've been sorting stuff out with the venue as well. Had a meeting yesterday with, do you know a guy called Andy Chambers?
Yeah. I wish I could have made it down for that.
Yeah. I hung out with him yesterday. Seems like a nice guy.
He created
good.
or wrote the original 40K.
Third and
Not the
fourth
original.
ed.
He's
like,
one of the
no,
OGs.
I think
OG.
third ed was his.
Third. Yes, it would be third.
He's made a
like,
playing game since, and he's done, I think he's did Starship Troopers, but he came over because we were chatting because he's working on a Xeogenesis, like a battlesuit mech
It's
game.
very cool.
We did
Nice.
Drop Fleet Commander as well. Which
He
is
did
like
Drop
a
Fleet
spacey
Commander.
game.
I just remember his face, the Light and White Dwarf. He was one of my
I
early
remember
heroes.
his face from White Dwarf.
We had a really good chat actually because he was talking about battle reports because he wants to maybe do some video battle reports. And that's what he was talking to me about. And the interesting element was he talked about what he thought the battle reports for original White Dwarf did. Maybe he'll come on the show and talk more about it.
Yeah.
People
But he said-
love those.
And he said one of the things that he thought was really successful about it was that it was aspirational.
Yeah.
It was the achievement of aspiration. So like most people buy minis or buy armies or buy sets with a plan they aspire to
have a fully painted army and then play with their friends, and it's really narrative and they're both really charismatic and fun.
and it's the
stuff.
best time, which
Yeah.
is where they think that they want to do, but like very few people like attain the aspiration.
Yeah.
And that's me with a couple of games. Like I'm sure it's many people, but he was like, that's what he felt like they delivered. They delivered the aspiration, which I thought was quite interesting.
That is
Maybe that's what battle
interesting.
reports are.
So
I
I've got
like that.
a bit of a segue to asking James a question.
Yeah.
'Cause
Do it.
I am a big fan of wanting to do some battle reports for my channel, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have any friends because I'm on my own and I've only got one
do you mean
camera.
you don't
I don't
have
have any friends. I
friends?
don't have any friends.
play us.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, that's something down
I
the
can
line we
play
can do.
half a game,
But I was just
sort of.
thinking,
Perfect.
like, because I love Frostgrave, I love Silver Tower. Well, I do love Silver Tower. Silver
like Silver
Bayonet. Looking at Stargrave now, they have solo rules, right?
Solo rules.
Solo rules.
Solo
That's
rules.
cute.
So I could do a battle report on my own, talking through a narrative story and just filming it as a solo rule. But my question's going to be to you is because did you do Execution Force? Or
Which one was that? The Assassin one?
The Assassin
no,
one.
that was Rob Credis.
Rob Credis? Because
Darn.
that had solo rules in it as well.
I was going to
think
say,
it
has
did.
Games
Yeah.
Workshop ever done like Warhammer? I mean, like 40k play by yourself.
So I only
So
ca-
one, oh, go on.
I was going to say, I can only think of a handful of games. I mean, there'll be more. People in the comments will chuck in more because they're great like that. They
Arkham
know more.
Horror has a solo play.
Does it?
mode. Yeah, and
so
I
I'm
used to play it
aware
all the
of
time.
Silver
It's
Bayonet,
amazing.
Stargrave, Frostgrave, and what I've just said, Execution Force. But how hard must it be to write? Because I've tried getting it around my head, like how to go about writing solo rules. So someone can just play at home and
Can I
can't
add
imagine.
chip a bit in before James tells
please
us how
do.
difficult it is? I actually streamed about this week. I completely forgot.
Did you?
I also completely forgot I ran the world's first old world team event this weekend.
Oh, of
Oh
course
yeah,
you
well,
did.
oh,
In
well,
addition.
no biggie, no
Yeah, no
biggie.
biggie, no
Yeah,
biggie.
whatever.
I did that as well, but like, which was great, and everyone was wonderful. So I'm not going to take any more time up, but everyone was great. Thank you for making that wonderful. This came up on stream. We talked about this literally a few days ago, and we started reading through a bunch of rule sets, specifically because Spearhead, Age of Sigmar, to reference back to that, is this kind of like, it's this kind of elephant in the room right now. It's like, how do you bring new people into games? I'm sure you could talk loads about this, which is why I'm kind of prefixing it. Like,
so many segues.
But the thing about it is it doesn't do the thing which everyone has a problem with, which is PvP versus PvE. So the team event, which is why I bring it,
versus event.
Yeah, player versus environment. The reason I bring it up is the team event, everyone's like, the team events are really, really good as an event runner, because what happens is if you're a little bit more uncomfortable or unconfident, you join up with your friends and you go as a group, so you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
And then they all have bullied me. They're like, put a doubles event up. And the reason is they want to bring their friend who's a little unsure with them, kind of like bring a friend. And they're all like, and it was really funny. It was like almost 20. We had a 24-person event, but 24 people in the room are like, do a doubles event so I can bring my friend.
That's such a great way to introduce people that are unconfident into gaming.
But that's the point, right? Like, I feel like if you were to have, as an event runner, if you could have a bunch of people doing a PvE game, that would bring even more people. I think the PvP aspect...
Well, because it breaks down the barrier of having to talk to a human.
Yeah, the PvP aspect is 100% the reason people don't play. Like, I would put, it's the biggest barrier to entry, in my opinion. So then, that's my prefix.
Cool, okay, so hang on. I'm going to like straddle... I'm like Jean-Claude Van Damme between two lorries right now.
Straddling.
Can't wait to see you in some blue jeans. It's going to be good.
I can do this. I can't do the splits. First, I've got to share this one because I might have told this before somewhere. I was at a doubles tournament once. Me and Sophie went with the Rock Army. 40k.
40k
at Warhammer World. I've been in the rules team for about 4 months at that point, and I was working on the Eldar Codex.
Ooh, fun.
And it was I think 7th edition maybe.
It will have been.
And I came up against the doubles thing. So doubles tournaments, you often get the person who comes along and has got a friend who's less certain and wants to kind of have a good time, and there's a supportive thing there.
Yeah.
You can also get though the person who wants to come along and has brought a friend who might as well be like an inflatable dummy because they are running the game because they want to win, but they can't go to a double tournament by themselves. So it's like a carpool lone inflatable, you know?
Like their beard.
And we come against this two people, this absolute monster of a human being, and he's actually quite a nice friend. Who just kept going to the drink. Oh, anyone want a drink at the bar? Go get us a drink.
Oh, he's a little waiter.
And the army was, the elder army he had was, and I say he because it was his army. His mate was just there.
Yeah.
It was the cheesiest nonsense based on all the sort of net listing stuff.
I remember 7th edition Eldar. What was it? Is it Serpent?
Wave Serpents.
Wave Serpents.
Could do a whole thing.
That was it, yes.
And I'd already done a fair bit of research at this point of what things needed to be updated and fixed in the new rulebook. But this was like, it could not have been better timed because not only did he give me a whole list of things to just take out of there and kill, but I also knew that book back to front. I've been reading it for about 2 weeks at this point, so I knew page references. So
did he know that you were on the inside?
Not at all. And I was so happy because he kept trying to do a rule wrong, little forget a rule in his benefit. We've all done it accidentally.
Bit of a cheeky cheat.
Yeah. And I'd go, is that how it's written? Yeah. Could you check page 76 for me, please?
I wrote it, bitch.
And he'd go, we can get a judge over if you like. I was like, no need to get a judge. Just look at your rule book. About 2/3 of the way down on this page
You
here.
hit him up with that.
And I was like,
just read
please,
the rules?
for the love of God, get a judge over because they know
Yeah.
who I am, what I'm doing here. And I don't want to be a dick about it, but that would have been so satisfying. Oh, this is actually he's working on the new Eldar Code. What I wanted to do, like,
did it not happen?
He ended up.
If you ever need like a wingman to come over and be like, don't you know who he is?
No, like I say,
I will be that.
I was happy that it didn't because it would have been weird. But I just love the
really
fact
cool.
that I imagine when that book came out, he must have been so pissed off because every one of his little toys that he was winning games with,
oh no,
I swiped away like an absolute.
It'll be in the comments ready.
Yeah,
I don't know how this has happened, but somehow my entire army.
And the thing was, I wasn't doing it maliciously. It's just that he had happily and conveniently pointed out every like dodgy, unintentional loophole, and the things that were not playing as intended. And it's like, this is great.
That's good play testing, right? That's how it should be.
It was phenomenal
you
play
need
testing.
People like that, right?
And I've told this a few times on different things, and I've always said, if you're out there, drop me a line because I would love to know what your reaction was when that came out. I stopped short of like, dedicated to.
Dear Jerry, fuck you.
The only credit ever in games
spells out, So anyway, so that was
hilarious.
that. Then you solo games. You want to talk about?
Oh yes.
And then doubles and like the barrier to entry PvP, PvE.
PvE. Yeah, definitely.
Player versus
environment.
Environment.
So PvE games. PvE games is probably a better term than solo games because what you often see is Solo games often have like a cooperative mode, so you can work together.
Yes,
But the point is,
true.
there is like an AI system of some kind that tells you how the game responds to what you do. And at Modiphius, I've done a few of these. I designed them directly, but I've worked on quite a lot of things for it. There's a game hitting Kickstarter soon called Cohor's Cthulhu Tactics.
Oh yes, I'm aware of this.
It's got Cthulhu in it.
You'll
I'm in.
like it. It's up your alley completely.
It's got Romans with tentacles.
Exactly. Yeah. And other Romans fighting the Romans with tentacles.
I love
and
that.
Yeah. And it's a narrative campaign PvE game. We've not been using that term, and I feel stupid that I've not been using that term.
It's okay.
What
You're
do you
welcome,
call
games
it?
industry.
There you go. We just call it solo co-op, which is way more of a mouthful.
Solo also sounds lame.
Yeah.
No offense.
Because that's the thing. You
Lonely
hear
mode.
solo.
Lonely mode.
Lonely
And
mode.
I actually had to do a load of research on working on these things because I wanted to figure out why do people play these. And that sounds really condescending. It's like, why? What is the drive? What is the drag? Because I'd always seen it as, well, it's a lesser version of player versus player. But no, it's not about that. It's a different experience. And whether that is because you don't enjoy the conflict, you want to be able to work with someone, whether it's because you maybe are in a position where you don't have the time to organise games. I mean, me, I'm really busy. I've got an 8-year-old. I don't have time to get out and play games. She is 8.
Shut up. It's wild.
Yeah. And she's 9 this year.
Shut up. That's not allowed.
Yeah. So I don't get
not
time to kind of play games as much, but I can crack out a gaming board in the evening and play a little bit of something, you know. But also the other thing is it's a different means to an end. What you're getting is you're not getting necessarily the sort of strategic, tactical head-to-head stuff. What you're getting is you're telling a story on the tabletop.
Yeah.
And often a lot of these games, so Cohorts Cthulhu, it's a campaign-based thing. So you build your force over time, you gradually level up, you unlock things, new storylines come available. There's a game called 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, which is, again, Modiphius stocks it. It's one of the ones I was looking into. And that is like fantasy across the lands adventure. You have a little band of adventurers.
Cute.
It plays on a 2 foot by 2 foot table.
Nice.
Which is lovely because you can build a little terrain
very
set for just about
small.
anything. Yeah. And it boils it all down to what's there. But with that, it's very much like you play a game, but the game is one step of 4. What you figure out events that are happening in the area. You do some pre-battle stuff. You play the battle. Do some post-battle stuff. And a lot of players, and I've started doing this because I started playing it myself. I've printed out some little like journal sheets, and I do a little bit of journaling. So it's almost like a solo RPG journaling thing.
Yeah.
And
That's super cute.
Yeah, and what you'll often find is that the mechanics of the game itself are more straightforward than you'd get in a PvP game because they're not the point. The point is that they are prompts for the story.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. And I think I'd love to see more games that do. Oh, here's a game that's designed, you know, for you and a mate to go along to an event or a tournament, whatever, and you're going to tell a story in the room. There's going to be a big campaign of some kind, and each round you're going to push on the story in some way. But all the way through, you are battling against AI-controlled stuff and all this. So I think, that is a thing that is really... It's not a thing I'd ever looked into, and it's been eye-opening for me because I've always thought of it as, if you say solo, people think you're playing 40k against yourself.
Yeah.
But a game like 40k wouldn't work because it is so very much designed as...
To be 2 people battling.
So one of the things that came up for me was like, so when Age of Sigmar 4 comes around, one of the things I'm going to do, because I've never liked the god characters.
What do you mean the god characters?
So like you're Archeon, you're Nagash,
the bigature kind of guys.
because it's kind of odd, right? Like it's
that there's one guy in that whole system, and then like 3 people bring him to a army.
No. The thing I really like is like the Warlord Titan is unplayable in 40k because the Warlord Titan is too. It doesn't. Its ludonarrative is that it's a world ender.
Oh, so like the Manta, the Tau Manta.
Yeah, which
I've seen one at a tournament once, and it was on like a perspex table.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah.
But the idea is that like a Warlord Titan's power level, like it's like in-world effect, is so large that it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like your fuel for tactical marines or whatever, a 2,000-point squad of any army could never defeat a Warlord Titan.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It's the end of a Power Rangers episode, right? So Power Rangers,
exactly.
They fight the bad
big
guy,
bad end guy,
and then at the end it goes really big, and then they combine to be a really big thing because. If that was really big from the start, they wouldn't be able to do anything to it. And if they didn't go big at the end as well, so you have to have...
it's a
power
good
levels.
anime when the first episode, it's like, we killed God, and you're like, what?
Well, where'd you go
Where
from
are we
here?
going from here? It's Evangelion.
The rest of it's like a real
yeah.
quiet, contemplative thing about,
the god
what
inside
next?
themselves.
Anyway.
Well, so like the Warlord Titan is like just something like in the Power Rangers analogy, a Warlord Titan would like just nuke them. You know what I mean? Like it's unplayable.
narrative
in the setting, like at the points level which we're accustomed to. So for Age of Sigmar, I've always found it really odd that you can fight the god of death. There's this really funny thing that we had on stream where...
Yeah, what do you do after he's off the table? It's like...
Well, this is a really funny thing. So if you're in my
done.
Discord, there's Barry. So he's like this.
I love Barry.
Yeah. So well, he's not officially called Barry, but on the Cities of Sigmar Canon kit, one of the little guys is a guy just swigging.
Yeah,
he's
He's
a bit
got like
portly.
he's so cute.
And he's like swigging. And the reason me and the chat came up with was that he's just like commander whatever turns around and is like, Barry. He's like, yes, boss. He's like, I need you to shoot the god of death. And he's like, that's a tough day in the office.
It's literally that though.
Swing.
Like literally the incarnation of death has just appeared like 5 miles down the road. We're gonna go fuck him up.
Yeah, he controls the heavens of hells of every race in the realms, and you're like, that's a tough day at the
How
office.
many wounds? How much health does he have?
You know this is a canon. I mean,
So I always found it really odd that they were in the games. And I think a lot of people really
interesting.
I think people really love the centerpiece models.
Yeah.
And I think if you could take a Warlord Titan at 2,000 points, people would buy it to do it.
Yeah.
But I would much prefer them to see. I've always considered them to be like an aspect of a god. I'm like, oh, you're not really fighting against Nagash. You're playing against like
the avatar of Nagash.
The avatar is the word.
Yeah, like a sliver. But I would really like to build. So I'm going to do this when Age of Sigmar 4 comes out, and after it's all settled down, I'm going to just build like some sort of AI to roughly use their abilities.
Yes.
And then
build an AI.
well, not like an actual AI, like James was saying.
build a
Some sort of
robot.
So Silver Tower, you got the little tables like, roll this thing.
Silver Tower is one you can do one player, can't you?
You can. It doesn't quite work. That we decided we will call it a 2-player game because there are some things that are just a bit weird when you play it as one. But you can
okay.
totally.
I thought it was.
So I'm excited about building some way for
Matrix or something.
Well, yes, just some sort of matrix, so that like again, people can play with a friend. Because I legitimately, my experiences of all events, being inside the hobby space for this long, tells me that D&D is incredibly popular because you collaborate. Yeah. Right? Like that's
mostly. Some people don't.
I mean, some people don't, but do people like playing with those people? Or that's part of the...
you just...
I've got some really relevant experience. So yesterday, so Lily, who we just mentioned, she has been asking to play D&D.
Nice. Nice.
Does she want to come over and play D&D Lego with me?
100% she would love that.
Okay, great.
I love that. Basically, yesterday...
You are also invited. This is the best D&D group ever.
After a lot of figuring things out, we got 2 of our mates over after school yesterday. And I ran. We've started a D&D
Tell
campaign.
me
they
everything.
Are like 8, and 9.
Yes.
So they're that age.
Amazing.
And I was like, this is going to either go really well. And we played a little game with Lily, like Soph and her played characters. I ran it. And I've never run D&D before.
You
I've run a lot
haven't?
of other role-playing games, played a lot of D&D, but never run it. And I thought, I think I can kind of get through it and this will be okay. But I was like, how are they going to get on with it? Because how are they going to get on with the idea of you're working as a team, you've got to collaborate, you've got a plan. And the moment it began, they were engaged.
Really?
Oh, amazing.
Did they nail it?
Yeah, and one of them who had never heard of D&D, so Lily knows about it, she's been telling her friend Abby, and then Gabe was like other friend who'd never heard of it. And he was like, what is it? Is it a game? What's this? The moment the first battle
Fortnite?
happened. Yeah, a grid comes out and he's like, and he starts strategizing. Like, you go over there, you go over there. It's like, that's...
I follow a dad on TikTok that plays D&D with his kids, and he's so, I gotta send you it. He's great. And because it's just because kids kind of naturally play D&D.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
And the thing that was concerning me was how will they get on with you're putting walls around their creativity, right? Because you're imposing structure.
You can't use your bow or something.
Oh, well, yeah, you can only move 5 squares, that sort of thing. But actually, they got it. I think also what doesn't hurt is there is definitely a lot of neurodivergence in that little group of kids. And I think having some structure and rules, they were like, oh yeah, quite like that.
I tell you what, James,
but
fucking love some structure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And I think it was really nice. It showed that fundamentally people like telling stories and collaborating with their friends, teaming up. And like you were saying, so having a thing where you go, actually, playing Nagash in a game of Age of Sigmar it's weird that that can be a thing you have in your force.
Yeah, literally, if you break it down to literally Barry swigging a beer with his cannon and being like, oh, you got the god of death over there.
But what's really cool
hilarious.
and like is a really standard sort of trope in storytelling is we've got to band together to take down that thing. And that suddenly switches the script a little bit.
I've got some observations about that. I'm just going to swing to the D&D thing. So I've been teaching my lad how to play Hero Quest, the new Hero Quest. I should be like on commission for Avalon Hill. But they've got an app now where it was part of it where you can actually like, that controls the baddies. So you don't have to have a separate GM. So
fun.
So me and him play the characters and we have 2 each and we do that. And there's some solo quests as well, which is like he plays like the elf and gets some gear, then I play the barbarian or whatever. But one of the scenarios that was in it, I think it's one from the main rule set. This flipped me for like having like big bad characters, like the god characters in Warcry for like my own little narrative hooks and stuff. I forget which one it is, but you gotta go and find, I can't remember the name of the wizard now. Some evil, it's the Witch Lord, I think it is. You have to go and do a mission, but you can't kill him. You have to get the Spirit Blade, but you haven't got the Spirit Blade at this point, so you can't kill him.
Yeah.
So you just have to get away. Yeah. As soon as you find him, you have to get away.
Yeah.
So he casts spells out, he just constantly moves.
But you can't kill him?
You can get into combat, but you can't kill him.
What do you mean you can't? Like you shouldn't? Or
No, you can't.
You physically cannot kill him?
He has...
It's effectively ethereal. You need a magical sword to kill him.
Right.
It says the only time you can harm him is if you have this weapon.
So you just literally can't do shit.
Do nothing.
Right.
And that made me think about like, I've got my Hag Valkyr thing, which is like my Warcry sort of Daughters of Cain thing. If I wanted to have Marathi in that, how would that work? Do I count it as a monster, use the monster rules?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I could use the monster rules. And the thing is with that, is she can't be harmed.
No.
She can have like some negatives maybe. You can put some negatives on her, like potentially if you get to a certain threshold in wounds that you've sustained, that she casts a one spell.
Literally does a Power Ranger thing and like slinks back for another battle next week.
But what it kind of like got fired in my head was like you could do some really cool scenarios where you then have to work with you because I have my mates over before Christmas playing like a couple of games and I had this whole idea that they'll fight like the big bad. We never quite got to that scenario. But what would be really cool is that when they get there, they have to work as a team. And some of them have to like keep her occupied while the rest do a thing.
Yes.
But you can't kill her.
Yeah.
But what she's there for is just to keep you entertained whilst you try and do this thing.
That's
so
super cool.
you could have Nagash in his throne room while you're trying to steal the sword of fuck-uppery.
That's my favourite sword.
It's
one of my favourite swords.
That's a deep lore cut right there.
The sword of fuck-uppery.
Yes, but yeah, you could do that, but you can't die. You will never die because that
It's
kind
the
of
god.
ruins,
It's literally a god,
So, but I totally get like, I've never thought about player versus environment, but I get when it says solo rules. I know
again, I'm trying to like, because I think James and me are like at the opposite ends. Again, talking to the creative and just being on the other end. Yeah. The thing I see often is people just very motivated, but I think just the environment of an event, but also I think you probably just end up having a more rewarding experience.
Yeah.
I like PvP. I like playing against someone else. I can make it a collaborative experience.
I really I like playing things by myself. I really don't like playing like online games and stuff like that. And I like playing things like Arkham Horror by myself. Because I don't know, I feel like I have more creative freedom as a little neurodivergent person myself. I like being able to like do all the weird things that I would do in my head, and that's just naturally how I would play. Yeah. I think it makes me a much more natural player. Playing by myself. Yeah. But I am the wizard of loneliness. With the sword of fuck-uppery.
When I was young and I was in countryside and I had no friends, and my dad wasn't always in the mood for playing games, that was it. I was like, I can't play a game.
Same. 100% same. My dad bought me Hero Quest for my birthday and then just never wanted to play it with me.
Well, what I used to do was I used to get the 2 Necromunda gangs and then just try and not be biased. Yeah. And it's really difficult.
It is, because I remember doing that with my Bionicle, because I had my favourite Bionicle, and then I would try and be like fair to both my Bionicle, but then one of them had to die. So
I feel like Rob's getting some insights here.
I just played games with my friends. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry.
I had a normal childhood. I'm socially adapted.
Okay, well, so talking about
solo games win.
So look, yeah,
I
and
like
I think,
solo games.
and I love the idea of like a series of like, because the thing is, it suits that format, right? The whole thing I'm saying about like, it's the story between the games as well, and you can get into that.
Yeah,
you can kind of. Well, I think the worst thing you could do is, and I'm saying this, someone's going to be out there who's doing exactly this, but I think the worst you could do is just film a game and just describe the actions of the game, because a solo game is about the story.
Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
So this is the thing. So many people said to me like, "Oh, you need to do that Twitch storyline you did when I did my Hag Valkyr and my Necromunda stuff." And I was like, "But I need people, and obviously we can do that kind of stuff if you really wanted to." But I was like, but I just want to do a quick one. And I'll try doing this, the player-verse environment, maybe using Frostgrave, because I've built myself a necromancer.
And you can do all the
warband.
voices.
And I could do all the voices.
I think the idea of just watching someone do an adventure is actually a great idea.
Yeah.
Like no one's against that, because like you've said, like as a game designer, and all of you have experienced, like I like tournament games, but I've never. We make a joke on the stream that I'm a narrative gamer, because like
that is a joke. No, I'm joking.
Well, because this narrative is as important to me. Some people think it's not, but it's as important to me as any other element of the game. And like that story that you can playing against someone else, the game creates a story for you, some more than other games.
Yeah.
But like, I would think people would be excited and thrilled about the idea that they could play an adventure, and like the fact that we maybe haven't seen it done loads in the game industry yet is quite interesting. Maybe because it comes from a wargaming space.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's quite
I've got all these plans now. I've got a necromancer's warband for Frostgrave. There's a rule set which is called mortal enemies, so you have to make a mortal enemy that appears every now and again. So I'm going to do a good guy I'm going the opposite way around. So I'm going to be the baddies, and then the good guy is going to be the mortal enemy that keeps appearing. Maybe go for something that's a bit more like a paladin or something like that. But I've always been of the mindset that I am not precious if people get killed in my warband. Yeah. But then I can find a way of like hooking that loss into like everyone else is bothered, not me, because I've made that story. So now you've got invested in this character. They've just died.
I get sad when my characters die.
But yeah, I'm
unless your troll
all
eats them.
I'd be very sad.
Do you know where would be a great place to play a solo game? The vault of a Fallout world.
Oh yes,
professionalism.
I did it.
Look at it.
So, what have you been watching on TV recently?
I used to professionally present things for a business.
Just what is that? 1 minute and 20?
That's not what that means. It's 1 hour, 20 minutes.
Oh, 1 hour. I meant hour. I just can't talk.
So I've been watching Fallout on the television.
Whoa,
I've
big
heard
segue.
of that.
And I like it a lot. Who else likes Fallout?
Love it. It's
good,
I
isn't
do.
been playing it for years on computer games.
What's your favourite Fallout game?
4, and the reason being, and I still hate myself for it, I spend more time building the defences of my settlement. And then giving everyone uniforms so I knew what their job is.
Peachy, that's really weird.
Wow, that's a real insight.
Peachy just builds camps and just...
What I love.
Staffs them.
So I feel like people walk into their little like barracks like, that's a soldier, they're on defence.
You're just a manager. You just play Manager Simulator.
What is this?
Peachy just plays post-apocalyptic
I'm supposed to be saving the world, except I'm just running a
It's
little
just
settlement.
Tropico,
You can't
but like
save the
Dusty
world
Manager.
unless you've got proper rota systems and uniform policy.
Exactly.
Oh my god,
yeah.
spoiler, but it's literally spoiler for the series if
Yeah, so we
anyone's
were
not
going to
seen
talk about
it.
the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Pete, have you seen the series?
Seen it all the way through
Have
twice.
you seen it? Have you seen it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah,
Sorry.
I've just been scrubbing through it. Ask me anything, I'll tell you exactly what
Once or
happens.
twice. So, Peachy, you're actually like the vault where they just breed managers.
Yeah.
32,
That
isn't
is,
it?
you are 100% there. Yeah.
Is it Vault 32? You're
Oh my God, I
actually
love
Vault
it.
32.
Stored in cryostasis. Peachy emerges. Time to keep this stuff
like,
exactly the
I raised
same.
these
Are you
ones
wearing
on a
red? You
farm
should be
for
wearing red.
15 years. But yeah, James, you are quite well acquainted with Fallout. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so
As I just tried to mansplain to you.
I love that. I really enjoyed it. So the Fallout TV series, we at Modiphius, we've got the Fallout license from Bethesda.
So cool.
And then we managed to also get the license from Amazon to do. It's such a weird thing. There's like Modiphius licenses from Amazon, which is licensing from Bethesda. It's like I don't understand the
There's a
stuff
chain.
behind it.
There's a chain.
But it
yeah.
means that there's like 2 different approvals processes things have to go through now, which is
was it like that in Lord of the Rings?
No, that sounded easy.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings was easy.
Yeah, literally.
On the plus side, at least, like the Amazon show is stuck so close to the video games that it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But
Right.
like we've done like stuff for 2D20 RPG. We've got the miniatures that have come out for.
Yes. Thank you again.
factions
Oh yeah,
and
we
Wasteland Warfare.
already swapped and stuff.
I got
we
Maximus.
They're cool. They're really nice.
I got Lucy. I like to call her Goosey.
I
but-
think you have to call it. It's what it says on the thing.
I honestly think that if we were to break this down, Louise is obviously Lucy, Peachy is Maximus, and I'm the Ghoul.
That means I'm the dog. I'm okay with it. That's fine. Yeah. But yeah, I think that I've seen the bigger scale action figures.
Oh my God,
I
they're
think the Lucy,
stunning.
the 28mm Lucy looks better, more like the actress.
Blew
than the
my
bigger
mind.
one.
The likeness on the characters. Do you
really
have
well
to
done.
send them to the actors for approval, like in Lord of the Rings?
I'd assume so. I don't know. So I know that was a big thing with Lord of the Rings.
It was, and apparently, what's her face? Was it Liv?
Liv Tyler, Arwen
Really
model.
went through the works approving
yes.
her miniature.
Yeah.
So I don't remember who sculpted her.
Gary Morley.
Was it Gary Morley?
Yeah, it was Gary Morley.
Great.
Gary Morley
So,
smells fantastic.
Smells great, apparently.
Met him
He does.
recently.
There you go. Now I know.
does.
Now you
Have you
know.
met him?
Does smell good.
Incredibly well dressed
I didn't
and
notice
It
smells
smells like
great.
a meadow.
I've never smelled the man.
Yeah, smells
smelled
like
the man.
oak and stories.
Or
Oak and stories.
Oak and stories.
Orc and stories. But apparently they sent her miniature like 12
kept going
times
back,
and she
yeah.
kept saying no. I don't. Maybe it was just like, it might have just been Nagash that they were sending her multiple times and she was like, what the fuck is this? So but yeah, I think
Right, yeah.
I think the likeness on all of
really
the
good.
characters is amazing.
But-
Who's your sculptor? Or was? Or,
No, I think that was Joe Abbott. I think.
Apologise
I think Joe
to
did
Joe,
those.
because-
Sorry, Joe. I've dropped
Whoever's
Joe in
the
I
on
mean,
a
there's
live
a
stream.
lot of models to know who sculpted
I know
that.
Sorry.
Colin Grayson did the. Hey, look at
Yes.
this. All the plastics.
I know.
Look
I
at
like-
me.
Did you get those from?
Wherever I am, I can just do that and produce
Wow.
a set of all that plastics. It's
Magical.
convenient and difficult at the same
Superpower.
time.
But yeah.
But yeah, so we had all this stuff, and so we had to get some information about the show.
Oh.
Wait, like how
Under
far
NDA.
ahead? How far ahead
Under so
were
much
you in the
NDA.
know?
Not as much as we would have liked.
Oh.
So this is going to get a little bit like inside baseball here. But so we had an initial meeting with Amazon's licensing coordinator, whoever
That's
it was.
exciting.
And we got a real, like, this is about several months ago, we got a very, very loose breakdown of like the arc of the show and a few bits about each character.
Yeah.
We were like, that's brilliant. That's a great starting point.
What,
Now, if
like
we
there's
could-
going to be
there's a
how
vault
loose are we talking?
and
There's a vault.
It was, yeah. there's a vault.
Great.
We got like, these are the main characters and this is roughly what they do over the course of the story.
Oh,
It's
were they
real
like
simple
names?
story.
She's a
yeah.
vault
So
tech,
Lucy's a
she's-
vault dweller. Her dad is Hank, who's the overseer. And we find out later that actually, we weirdly
Did you know
though-
who the actors were going to be?
No, we didn't get any of that. We didn't know.
Sorry, I'm a
That's
big
all right.
fan. I'm a big fan. I'm a
We
big
got
fan. I'm a
your
big
big
fan.
Carl McLaughlin is like, yeah, you know.
I love him. So
Walter
much.
Goggins.
Carl
amazing.
McLaughlin.
No, it's
Kyle-
Walter Goggins. Walter Goggins is the best.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to all my
Nose on
Justified
nose,
fans.
amazing.
Shout out to my
I
Justified
like
fans.
de-aged Kyle.
Freaked me out. Didn't
Freaked
sleep
me
that
the
night.
Fuck out. Anyway, sorry.
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna-
so we got that, and it was really like a lot of the notes we got were based on the first two episodes because
Mm-hmm.
clearly that was. I'm assuming that was what was like kind of fresh in the guy's
it's
mind.
set up, right?
So we got that, and then all this stuff happens afterwards. We then didn't get anything else for a long time, and we were like, "Can we have a bit more information, please?"
Please, sir.
Because we have to send it to our contact. Then send it to someone else, and
Yeah.
these things, take time. So the only information we got beyond that was about a month and a half, 2 months ago,
Yeah.
when
Oh,
we
gosh.
were with three
What?
of us.
Wait.
Yep.
No.
Because we've been trying to organise like a viewing. Like, can we get access so we can sit and view it? They did not want us to do it. They were then looking at flying
Even
us.
like 2 months.
They want, yeah. They were potentially going to bring us out to LA, a few of us, so we could
Hell
go in
yeah.
and their studio and watch it on a desktop computer because they were being so paranoid about leaks.
Which is fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Eventually, three of us went down to Amazon HQ in London, which was this terrifying dystopian glass building.
Wait, you went to Amazon?
Yeah, and watched the first 2 episodes in like a meeting room with all the windows taped over and stuff.
Oh my God.
And 2 episodes. We were in there for 3 hours. We were in the dark. We could just about make notes. Couldn't pause. It's like,
And you'd also be like, this is so cool.
we saw the first 2 episodes, and that's what we based most of the stuff that we were able to do on. Obviously, then when the show came out, we were like, okay, change that, do this, do this.
What
do
did
this.
you? What kind of things were
The
like a
biggest
surprise?
thing was we'd assumed that there wouldn't be any more information about Philly because Philly appears and you think, that's a
there's
show.
loads.
They turn up at Philly, they have their showdown with the Ghoul and that. They're moving on. They're not going to go back there. So
Yeah.
that's
It's just
probably a
like
safe
in Lord
bet.
of the Rings where they go to a place, move on, right?
We knew we'd see more stuff in Vault 33 because we'd seen the trailers. We had picked those trailers to bits.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sure, yeah.
And that's probably, we kind of tried
Did
to
you
figure
know
out a rough
about the
thing.
vaults? Like, did they?
No, they didn't tell us. I found out same as everyone else when I watched
Oh
the episode.
shit!
Yeah.
No way. That's interesting.
yeah.
because that surely could change
It was,
them.
you're telling me.
Yeah.
Well, we were having the debate like, why are they all linked? That's weird.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
never happened in any of the
And-
books.
Oh my God, so
So
exciting.
yeah,
So
and then of
exciting.
course then we sat there in the thing. I need to bring your projector back. You lent us the projector very
is that what
kindly.
you used it
So
for?
we had it on release day. We watched the first like 3-4
There you
episodes.
go. If you come to the TSN Arena, you can touch the pre-release Fallout projector.
If I bring it back, yeah. But yeah, and so we got to that, and in episode 3, Maximus goes to Philly, and we were like, no, because they go and you see like there's the mechanic like fixie character,
and
the
then they go
dentist,
back for like the showdown,
which were all things that we were like, and then later on. And again, big spoilers if you haven't stopped watching at this point.
They're just screaming at this point. They're like, I can't find the pause button.
The bit where they go back and it's now been taken over by the Brotherhood.
Yes.
We're like, okay, that's okay because a fundamental change has happened, and this is information about it at this point. So like we got some stuff for the RPG that's coming out, which talks about Philly, but it's very much based on what we saw from that. Of course, since then, I've watched like every episode a few times now and done a lot of like breakdowns and figuring out things and all this.
What? I'm so fascinated by this.
What sort of things am I looking for in there?
Yeah.
Well, it's just things like, so when one of the things we'd asked for was, can you give us, like when we do rules for the 4 main characters that are in the box, which we ended up having to get sent to print anyway, so that was before we saw the TV show.
Yes.
So the fact that the characters in the box are similar to what happens in the eventual series.
Nailed it.
I'm so happy with that.
Yeah.
Oh, great work. Well done.
Yeah, so
But
yeah.
Maximus has got an assault rifle,
Yes.
which he uses exactly no times.
Yes.
Because Titus, the knight, he has it, the Yaogwai knocks it out of his hand and it breaks. He then, he doesn't use it because his squire uses the Thaddeus, uses it at one point. I don't think Maximus ever actually uses it.
No, I don't think he uses it.
Oh
So
my
the model
gosh,
we've got,
well, there
the
you
rule
go.
of him having that is like, okay, well, fine. But I've kind of been going through and looking for stuff like, right, with Maximus, what are the rules for Maximus going to be in the game? What are his key hero moments? And we've been asking for this for ages. It never quite came
That
through
seems
to us.
quite what's his big, because like obviously in the first 2 episodes it's all set up, and then like it may be that Maximus' big thing is that he rejects the Brotherhood.
This is the thing, we were like,
or
which way is he
something
going to go? Because like episodes 1 and 2,
or Lucy gets the power armor, and that's like her for the rest of the season.
In the trailer. You got the scene of where
so
the
excited.
Brotherhood attacked the observatory with the NCRR, and there's one strike, and I was like, I bet that is the Ghoul, because you clearly see when he's having the one-on-one fight with Maximus, and he'd been a Marine, you're like, oh, he clearly knows what power armor is.
Yeah.
So is that him? It wasn't, but that was like one of the theories. And so it's like when you do like Lord of the Rings. When you do the Lord of the Rings games, you look at a load of special rules will have a quote from the character's name of the rule or something.
You shall not pass.
Yeah,
Gandalf gets another point for his staff.
Exactly, yeah. Because the name of a rule can be really evocative, can really help sell the idea of it. And we were like, can you give us a list of cool quotes from each character from the show? Can you give us...
feels fine.
Yeah. Or like give us a bunch of... give us a dozen cool props that show up in the background that are obviously Fallout based.
Yeah.
There's a can of cram. There's a desk fan.
Yeah.
We love desk fans.
A bobblehead.
You get the things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of going through and just looking at, okay, we'll use that in a game, we'll use that in a game.
That's cool.
And then kind of tracking, oh, that's episode 3. I've got a spreadsheet. Episode 3, 7 minutes in. Here's a screenshot. We can use that at some point. This is not the stuff that I ever thought I'd end up doing, you know.
I love it. I find it really interesting.
Louise is very excited, I could tell.
I really like Fallout a lot.
But the thing is, I've loved Fallout for years, so it was so nice to kind of get a chance to actually...
So is this your process that like, so that same process is something that you would do for any other IP you work on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've done, it depends on the level of it varies. So when I did the Hellboy board game,
Love that as well. Big fan.
We got access to Dark Horse Digital with open access to everything on there. So I can download any comic for a limited period of time. It's gone now.
Oh, I screenshot it.
I read 25 years of Hellboy comics.
Oh, cool.
Did you read BPRD? Those are my favorite.
Hellboy, BPRD, Abe Sapien.
Abe Sapien was my favorite spin-off.
It was brilliant.
It's so good.
And there's the one that
the
Witchfinder guy. Yeah, Fish guy.
Yeah.
Who's quite a lot different in the comics in the films.
There's
but
another
so
one
good.
that I can't remember.
There is. It's the Witch Hunter guy who Edward something. Edward Blake? No,
I can't remember what it's called. But like those are my favorite comic book series.
So that was like, we knew that the game would not be directly following any of the comics 100% just because of the way it was. So that was read it and get the vibes.
Yeah.
Whereas like Fallout was like read it and get the things. I did the Devil May Cry board game for Steamforged. That was like play a load of Devil May Cry. I realised how bad I am at Devil May Cry.
That's not a bad day at work, is it?
No, but then you get a feel for like what emotions is a player going through when they play? What are the things that you're thinking of? What are the things, and how do you convey that with tabletop mechanics rather than video game mechanics? It's a thing you often see that like when people do an adaptation, especially like with like video game to board game or something, they try to copy the mechanics. And you cannot do that.
No.
It doesn't work
Yeah.
because
No.
like
Video game mechanics are insane.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Devil May Cry. How do you model fast, rapid button
I was about to say
tapping?
it's fat.
It wouldn't
yeah.
work. Especially when it's a one player game and this needs to be a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
So yeah, the process is there. It's a lot. I mean, and I did Fallout Factions is the game that's will be out very soon. It was going to be out in April, but logistics happened. And that
As
is that's the new Fallout game from Modiphius. And that was like, how do you take all of that stuff for the IP and turn it into a really accessible, like PvP friendly, but also very easy for new players, tabletop game.
And this is the second of the Fallout games from Modiphius?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
If you look
Is
on
it
the
Nuka World?
it's Nuka World. is
Nuka
the,
World.
that's
That's
the
I
box
love
set.
I love the setting. I didn't know that the setting was in like a like a dilapidated, abandoned
park.
theme
Yeah,
park.
Nuka-Cola themed
Have
theme
you-
park.
Did you play the game?
I didn't. I painted the miniature. I ran around, but I
The
didn't actually
tables we
manage
had
to-
here for the launch day
Incredible.
were amazing.
Incredible.
they were
we
really
could probably
good.
put some pictures of those over.
Yeah, definitely. So
we
you
will.
had. So could you explain the setting to us? Because actually, I don't know this.
Yeah, so
What, Nuka
Fallout.
World?
So Fallout, you got your apocalyptic. It's retro-futuristic, post-apocalyptic wasteland. Nuka World is a setting it's a DLC for Fallout 4, and it's a theme park. It was like
so
the
cool.
happiest place in America. And there's the launch trailer is amazing. It's a black and white cartoon.
Nice.
Very just horrific things happening, and they're all smiling and laughing. And yeah, so in the video game, you go to this theme park, and there's 3 gangs of raiders who are competing to control it, and there's like a big council. And in true like Fallout video game style, you can pick one of them that you side with and help them.
Yeah.
And so that became the basis for the game, which is we've got the 3 sets of raiders as lovely Colin
Which ones are the ones with the teddy bears?
the pack?
The pack are my favorite. Do you have
Yes.
them there?
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, I don't know if you do.
These ones, you mean?
You
could-
do?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
could
these
put a
are
picture
my.
up.
Can you tell us about tell
Yeah,
me about
totally.
the pack? Because
So-
I instantly vibed with them so hard, and I'd never seen.
I
anywhere.
vibed with the suits because I'm a manager at
You are.
heart.
Did you?
Is this true? Did you actually choose the suits? Oh my
They've all got
god!
good
We need to
uniforms.
have a talk about this.
You have some issues you need to iron out there.
I probably do.
Iron out
Probably
like
do.
the creases in a suit. That's what we need you to do. There we go. Now you
Nice.
understand
There you
it now,
go.
see.
But yeah, I vibed
got
with
you.
the pack, and they weren't like anything I'd seen before.
They're really cool because I
Tell
mean
me about
the in Fallout you always had like raiders are your generic, vaguely Mad Maxy bad guys.
Yeah.
With here they gave each of the 3 ones quite a distinct flavour. So you got the operators, Peachy, you've got the
suits.
sharp
The
suits
best.
and the kind
The
of
best.
1950s organised crime kind of feel. You've got the disciples
Yeah,
who
Tommy
are
Gun.
disciples who got like cloaks and hoods and all that. And the pack are they operate out of Safari World, which is
I
like
love
the
them so much.
yeah, they're all hanging out in like animal cages, and they've got attack dogs and bright colours, like very peacocky.
And they strap like all the gift shop teddy bears
Yeah.
to themselves and stuff.
So the
It's
miniatures are
so
just covered in
good.
little teddy bears. They also they have one of their things is predator grenades, which is a teddy bear with like a device that attracts animals. You throw it at someone and then they get eaten by a thing.
Hilarious.
It's great fun.
Hilarious.
I absolutely love like any not even post-apocalypse. Like have you ever seen the movie The Warriors?
I like
Yeah, it's Warriors. It's good. I just love all of them. I've never been in one. It must be super fun to be in the meeting where they're like, right, okay, it's gangs.
I was going to say an apocalypse.
No,
I was like,
and you're like gangs, and they're like, okay, right, we need 9 gangs.
what
and
little freaks can we come up
it's
with?
just like making up the freaky gang names and the
So-
freaky the type. They all
what
strap
would, your,
teddy bears
what would your
themselves.
gang be?
I don't know actually.
Mine would just be like discarded, I think, like crate themed. Because you get a lot of those around.
What
in,
like
the
monthly
WoW.
subscription crate kind of thing?
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Loot box. We could be like the loot boxers, and like we just arm ourselves with all like the shit tat that comes out from like
amazing.
Harry
I
Potter
reckon mine
world.
would be like reenactors in armour.
Oh, that
Yes, it would. Yeah, but from different eras, like Rimmerworld from Red Dwarf.
I love it.
With Gandhi.
What would
Get
your-
in there, Gandhi?
What would your post-apocalyptic gang be?
I don't know. I already vibe a lot with the post-apocalyptic look.
You would just be like, are you just like the
like Mad
generic
Max.
big Mad Max guys?
Yeah, I don't
Humongous from Mad
mind a
Max 2.
tire shoulder pad. That's
I reckon
it's
it'll have a
pretty-
massive, great big cod piece with studs on it as well.
I didn't doubt that for 1 minute. What about you, James?
Such a
What's
good
your apocalyptic gang OC?
This is the thing that I've actually put a little bit of thought into.
Oh, okay.
You already have an OC. Do not steal.
So I do a little bit of LARPing.
Okay, yes, you
As
do.
I know, because me and James also go
As is
LARPing
Peachy.
together.
And
I do it for
Wow,
real.
Rob.
yeah. LARPers and
I
green
didn't know
actors
that
can't
bit.
be friends.
You're so
No,
lame
apparently
for
so.
not LARPing, Rob. Geez, get with the gang. Anyway,
But there's a LARP that started up last year called Gritland, which is a post-apocalyptic, but it's very sort of like sort of Red Dwarf humor. It's a like a take on post-apocalyptic Britain, and you've got like Wales as an irradiated wasteland. The home counties are this horrible like fortified thing. It's lovely, but when you go along, you get to create a tribe with your mates and kind of thing. And the suggestion I had.
Gosh.
We can't do it because it's too close to something else that was already in there.
Yeah.
I wanted to do HMV, basically. So like, you know, the
How is that
Roman
already
vexilla
close
banners.
to something?
I would want like CDs hanging down in
That's
strips.
hilarious.
Nice.
Like, armor made of loyalty cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like the
loads of
idea
them.
of the banner being, in HMV where you had those posters that you always used to look through, but you never bought
Yes,
one.
yeah.
And it's just a banner, but it's all the posters. And
yeah,
you're just
like,
like, wait, let me
Sashimoto's.
find the right one. Let
Looking
me-
up band T-shirts as like loincloths.
How is that already
This feels
close
like an
to
episode of
something?
Spaced.
Apparently, the Roman element of it I wanted to kind of lean into.
Yeah.
There's a group called the Kenturians who are all from
Oh, the
Kent. And I was like,
Kenturians.
okay, yeah, that's too close.
Do they fight against the Manchurians?
They should. They
Oh, that's
should. They've got a good
hilarious.
candidate, actually.
I would do like teapot nights,
Yeah.
right?
The teapot nights.
Teapot nights. Oh, you could be in my.
I do this. I
We
do
would be
that.
called the teabaggers.
I say
We would be called from Bag End.
I say this on stream
should
all the
definitely
time,
go.
like
We should
because
definitely
I've
go.
just today done every month I do a stream where I look at all the 3D sculpts from different patrons I subscribe to. Super
is cool.
fun, really fun, and it's really cool. But we often say, I'm like, you just take anything. Like being a sculptor, it must be so fun because you take anything, you stick some other thing in front of it.
Two things and that.
Yeah, you're like someone
Make 'em
today did
kiss.
ogres. Clay Beast Creations as the artist. He did ogres, and he was like, they are pirates, and I'm like, obviously.
Done.
And then the other
Easy.
one is samurai, and I'm like, of course.
Oh yeah, you have like the archetypes where anything's cool if you make it some variation of what is it? Pirate,
Yeah.
samurai,
Cowboy.
knight, cowboy.
Yeah, any of those things. Pick
Yeah.
anything.
And
a
like,
kobold
so-
who's a pirate.
Is
Amazing.
Fallout like cowboy?
amazing.
An elf that's a ninja.
Post-apocalyptic, I guess. And knights,
I
they
think
also have knights.
Fallout has its cake and eats it by saying, oh, the Wasteland is a varied place, and every game has different bits. Like you've got Caesar Legion in New Vegas,
Yeah.
you go with the Roman thing.
Yes.
You've got
Yeah.
Dry Rock Gulch in Nuka World, which is a cowboy-themed place.
Obviously.
The whole thing is like that, But yeah, I think that's really fun. What I was going to say though was when we were working on Necromunda at Workshop, I was looking into like gangs of New York in the 70s, so around the time of the Warriors.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
And I found an
Oh my
amazing
God.
thing, and you can put this up. This is it's a list of headquarters of youth gangs in northern Brooklyn. I put this.
I feel
on the
like I
wall.
remember.
You would have seen it.
I
Yeah.
remember
this little.
Yes,
yeah.
I remember
Oh my
So I'm
god.
going to read out some of the names.
Okay,
Please, please, please.
This is real.
Yeah, this is real.
This is
So
real.
these
This
are
is real.
actual youth gangs in New York in the 70s.
And the branding is incredible. The names they come up with.
Okay. I'm
right, I'm
thinking
ready.
just
Okay,
Necromunda. Like,
so-
what do they look like?
Well, this is it. This is what we were like.
It's
you know,
great
How do we?
inspiration.
Yeah. The Phantom Lords,
Love. Is that
Fantastic.
already a Space Marine chapter?
Maybe.
possibly Driggs Boys of Justice.
Yes. A
The
big fan of
dirty
Drake.
ones. I don't know if they gave themselves that one.
The
Someone
dirty
did it.
ones? That sounds like a dig.
Yeah, the Devil's Rebels, the Savage Nomads. What else have we got? There's a lot of them say bachelors. The TNT bachelors.
That seems
the Latin
unfortunate.
secret bachelors.
I'd like the ones that were just like the guys who have girlfriends.
Imagine you were like, I've had a tough week. Like, what happened? It's like, yeah, my brother got stabbed. You're like, that's really sad. Who did it? It's like the Latin Street Bachelors. You're like, what the fuck?
What concerns
like a
me
band.
is they might still be out there. They might come for us.
Yeah,
after this.
Latin
Who
Street
can say?
Bachelors, I want you to
Yeah.
know we've got no beef with you. The Juggz
Do
podcast
not
crew.
come to our turf. Do not come to the Juggz turf.
The Taekwondo Bros. I love that.
That would be you.
I would
That
love
would
to be
be
the
you.
Taekwondo Bros.
Why did they call it the Taekwondo Bros?
That's really, this is
funnier.
right there.
Right
And
there.
then there's one that says Benai Zaken Incorporated, and I'm like, that must be
Why
a reference
they-
to something.
That's Peachy.
But
That's
that
me.
is-
That's me.
I love it.
Please send me that.
I will send
This
you
is a great
that.
opportunity for some classic engagement. If you're watching this video,
What would your gang name be?
yeah, what would your gang
Tag
name be?
yourself.
Yeah,
Tag
and also
yourself.
describe your gang, please.
Please
Suits and all, please.
tell
Suits and all.
us about your gang OC.
I don't know because they're not cool.
We got to enforce some kind of rule.
I was Peachy just watching Mad Men being like, fuck, that's a good gang.
Is that what it was? He tried to watch Mad Max and got confused.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, this wasteland stuff. They're really into smoking and being really on top of things. I love this.
My biggest disappointment with Fallout, the Nuka World stuff was because I've always
The TV series.
No, not the TV series. The
game?
DLC on the game.
The DLC.
So you get these gangs in Nuka World.
Yeah.
I may have a bit of an affection for Nuka Girl, and I was
we all love
disappointed
Nuka Girl.
that there was no Nuka Girl gangs.
Who was Nuka Girl?
Nuka Girl,
Girl's
like the poster,
she's the poster girl. You know where it's like the girl, she got like the rocket dress,
Space
kind
rocket
of,
lady.
and she's like the poster girl for
She's
Nuka
hot.
Cola.
So she's like a B2 bomber pin-up girl.
Is she?
Yes.
Is she?
Okay.
Has she
Yeah.
got red hair? I can't remember.
she's got blonde hair, but you can find her outfit. But luckily, there's a mod, so you can put it on a man.
Thank God.
My entire life now is just being like, Peachy, invite me over your house, show me your Fallout save.
Luckily, don't worry. I've tried.
Go on.
I'm replaying 4 at the minute because I played a fair bit of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I played a fair bit when I was working on factions, and I've got a save where I'm sat at a weapon workshop. I've put the cheats in, so I've got all the materials because when we're like planning out future
Makes
gangs
sense.
for it, I'm like, right, we need 5 variants of the laser rifle because, like, for example, in Fallout 4, like a gun can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And so we have to go, right, let's pick like 4 like moments in time. This is the like close range variant, the sniper variant, whatever else. And so I'm doing that, then giving that to the project managers, the sculptors, who can then go and turn it into miniatures.
Nice.
And
That's so
really
cool.
fun.
And it gives you an excuse to like be like, well, I gotta have all the cheats on.
Yeah.
I quite like playing games with cheats. I'm
I
not
think
gonna lie.
it gets
Well, you just
derided
do
quite a lot, but
storyline.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's about if you're playing it because you want to see the progression, the story, do this stuff. But I'm quite enjoying playing it. Like now, I'm just going through a very sort of vanilla playthrough.
Yeah.
I've not touched any of the settlements because they bore me. I hate the whole thing.
Really?
It's fine. That's more time
Because
for
more
me.
for you. Exactly.
More time for
There
me.
you
I hate how needy they are. It's like
More
any
organizing for Peach.
of you. Just get a shred of independence. What is up with a lot of you? You
I
know what
always
mean?
make one little house for myself and I deck it out, and then
Yeah.
I'm kind of like I like exploring. I like an open
I forget
world
what it's
game.
called, but there's a big pylon in
Yeah.
Fallout 4, and you can turn it into a settlement. And
I remember that.
I basically did like a wall defense around the entire thing. And
Oh,
just built
fun.
onto it. But it was all manned by chicks in sort of like hot pants and motorcycle helmets.
It's just
Find all
Peachy.
those clothes individually and like give it.
And Peachy in his Nuka Cola
Dedication.
girl
I know what I'll do is I'll be
dress.
doing a mission going, right, I really need the Gatling gun, but there's the helmet that I need for one of my crew at the base.
Which one do I leave?
I'm going to have to drop you because I need that for Felicity or whatever her name is.
Felicity gotta get her kicks. Like,
She needs a motorcycle helmet.
What I love is
oh my
that
God.
this shows there is no right or wrong way to play a game.
No, there definitely is.
I now want legitimately a YouTube video for Peter. He's just showing us around his Fallout save
God,
with like
yeah.
a DVD commentary.
Yeah.
Peachy, please make that
Well,
video.
I'll have to redo it because I'm probably not
Mystery
got the
Science
saves
says that we
anymore.
can
So do
we
it.
can comment on it.
Yeah.
I'd
You
love
know,
that.
yeah, do it.
You know
please.
what I find really interesting about like everything you were saying is I wonder how close that's going to be to how it is with the Amazon 40K deal.
Yeah.
It's
know what I
very
mean?
interesting.
And
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about that because like they're going to want to, because Games Workshop notoriously love controlling their IP in everywhere
Why
that
they
it
didn't get a
is.
TV show for ages because they
Yeah.
wanted to have control and
Yeah.
also be paid by the company for the privilege to do it.
So
that's not how
last
it
week I
works.
think we talked about Total War and how they were like, we really want creative control over that. I wonder how it's going to look with Amazon because Henry Cavill being a big nerd and with big ties in Games Workshop, maybe it'll be fine.
Is he?
Yes, Rob. Rob has a conspiracy
I've heard
theory. Rob, do you want to tell the people your conspiracy theory?
It's
or
just,
not?
no, we'll do it another day.
We'll do it another day.
But no, I think because there's going to be a whole interesting thing about like, so the 40K universe.
Yes.
For a start, which version of it do you show? Because there's even if you look at contemporary stuff, there's the version in the rule books and there's the version in the Black Library.
What do you
novels,
mean by
two different
that? I
things.
assume they're all the same. Yeah. Like,
Because there's no one true source of what is canon, so to speak.
I see.
And intentionally, because they like it to be loose, because they can change it and mix it around.
and
do
they
different things.
love an unreliable narrator because
absolutely.
it reinforces
Yeah.
the Imperium of mankind being batshit.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that about the books.
It means, so when you've got like a bunch of different writers writing for Black Library, they will each have their own idea. And sometimes it means they get pushed into their own little corner of the thing, go have your little bit and make it whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
But you look at like, so if you look at, what's the game? Darktide?
Darktide. Love Darktide.
So Darktide, pick a 40k novel and then like the books that come out, the codexes and things.
Yes.
They will all show a different version of that world because they have different needs, because the narrative is always secondary to the game. So Black Library, you get the very straightforward, this is a book which is written to be a cool story.
Yes.
That's that.
Yeah.
Darktide, here's a story that is written to make it possible for you to go around a place and shoot a load of zombies.
Loads of zombies, yeah.
The 40K,
maybe it wouldn't be real that you could have that many things in one place on a spaceship, but we decided it's cool, so whatever.
40k, a codex will tell you a different version of the story, and with a codex especially, you're getting one faction's view of things.
Especially on a codex, and even without the narrative, the codex would be like, one guy couldn't kill this many people, because that would be insane, because then his codex will be like, well, you're just going to die if you meet one ogre.
And you get into the old thing about like Marvel comics. There was always who wins out of Wolverine and the Hulk? Whose comic is it? Because that's the answer.
Yes. But comics kind of have this sort of like multiverse thing that in the last, I think like 15 years, maybe even longer, has become so commonplace. Like there are so many like individual, like Spider-Man
the multiverse has been common for like a long time.
We had Crisis on Infinite Earths, but it's become a really mainstream thing.
In comic books especially, like the Spider-Verse does it. Batman had like, I think when I was reading comics like 15 years ago, there were just like loads of just like, is this canon? Well, they're all canon. Sort of thing.
And actually, like the question, is it canon? It doesn't matter really, which is a thing because
that's interesting.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, because actually, what matters is for a 40k story, it matters from the company's point of view. It matters that it gets customers to engage to the point they want to buy the models. That's what GW's mission is.
My theory on like things being canon as well is you wrote some rules one day because you were told to, and you wrote some background maybe,
and that became canon.
Your opinion became canon, but it's just an opinion that you had at that moment in time because you're asked to do it.
And some guy may come in and be like, I think that needs a bit of updating because that game over there is doing it.
That's changed. When the what's the little punchy fist flying thing that Space Marines had? The
Storm Raven.
The little one. Storm Wing.
Punchy flying fist.
Yes.
Little bumblebee something with missiles.
I think it is. It's some variation of Weatherbird.
Yeah, and when it came out, I remember the first time I looked at it and I was like, hang on a second, because I was expecting the narrative to be, here's a new thing that's been developed. No, it was like, when Space Marines go to war, they've always used this thing. It's like, no, they haven't.
Well, that's why a lot of people were upset with the Custodes thing, because like they were like, well, they're gaslighting us, and they did that with the Lehman Russ tank as well.
Exactly. This is the thing. It's this thing where the Chuds, can I say Chuds?
You can say Chuds.
The Chuds have got up in arms at the fact about Custodes. GW's only mission has ever been, make the law reflect the thing that we want to sell. That's what it is.
Only ever been that.
Yeah.
Like
maybe
every other myth around that is like, I understand everyone wants to think that,
and a lot of the writers genuinely love Warhammer and think it's
and I want to say there's a big difference between Games Workshop, the entity, and the people who write and design.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important to make that difference.
One's not real to what the other one is.
But like, I can always guarantee that section in that book, the one that has had all the attention lately, that was written by someone who's like, hey, you know what? Let's just be more inclusive. Let's do that. There wouldn't have been some big directive.
But
it's like someone saying this.
That's apparently the wrong reason to do something. And who was it I was talking to? I can't remember who it was. It was someone at GW's, but they came up with a great point, which is just like, we're storytellers. And if a story can be cooler, if someone goes, I like that because I'm a girl and I think girls are cool, or whatever reason they have, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
Like, you're a storyteller. Why wouldn't you make an engaging story for your customers, even if it changes some stuff?
I mean, it's been observed by many people on the internet that at no point have they said the 10,000 were all men.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, someone in the comments will always say, no, they have. They made... But I'm going to go back to the Space Marine female point as well. Yeah. I was talking to Ali Morrison when we met up with Lone Samurai.
I love...
Happy birthday, Lone.
Happy birthday, Lone.
And because Bob Naismith made the first Space Marine, Ali, we were talking about like the females, because he was like, there's always been female Space Marines. And I was like, but people keep saying this.
Did he say that?
Yeah, well, this is the great thing, right? Because...
not on record, he didn't say it.
Not on record.
Not on record.
Allegedly.
In conversation, it was like, I said, yeah, the annoying thing is people always go back and say, well, actually, it's not a female space marine. It's a female space adventurer.
Space warrior,
yeah, but he's like, well, I sculpted him and I sculpted it as a female space marine.
And
so that's a female space marine because I sculpted it that way.
And it literally just takes one person to go, well, I intended it that way. I never wrote it down because I didn't think it needed, but that was my intention. And then does that then circumvent all of the written stuff? Probably, maybe. Who cares?
The fact is, it's a wobbly loose cannon.
Absolutely, it's a wobbly loose cannon.
The thing is, you look at like a lot of it is back in the 80s when a lot of this stuff was originally laid down. It was much more like, well, the men do the fighting, and GW would subvert that in ways because actually, what I love is the studio was a massive like left-wing melting pot at the time, and they were all being very transgressive. Though. But the Chuds do not think this. They think it's the. They think that the satire that was satire that isn't so much satire so much anymore. They think that was very straight-faced and actually the authoritarian regime is correct.
Cool that these guys are
and so the fact that they were all men at the time was because that was the standard for they're military, therefore they're men.
Yeah, it was a more male-dominated thing at the time, and it was like drawing from things like Paradise Lost, which is about like angels and they were all men and stuff like that. It wasn't like a malicious like we're not going to involve women because we're based and women are not.
Do you think to try to bring us back? Do you think that Fallout is trying to do you think that there's an underriding or overriding kind of like story it's trying to tell? Because I think one of the interesting things about Fallout same with The Walking Dead, I feel like one of those interesting things as a comparison, ultimately it's an art piece trying to tell a story. Like I think Fallout was made to do cool shit and sell games, but shout out to Jeff. He reached out to me. He's added you on LinkedIn, just so you know. He's one of the lead, he was one of the lead developers of Fallout for years. He messaged us and was like, I'd love to come on the show and talk about Fallout.
Amazing.
Juggz said, and I was like, I'm afraid like you're in America and we're doing it tomorrow.
I'm afraid you're in America.
But we had a little chat, which was super nice. But I am fascinated because I watched a couple of Fallout lore videos this week to kind of keep myself updated. And I do wonder if that's going to change from the Amazon series. Because I think, what do you think the overriding story of Fallout's trying to say?
There's a lot. So I've played a lot of Fallout, right? Yeah. From the very first game, second game, played even Fallout Tactics, which was then removed as being canon at the time. But I found it really interesting that the story thread where it talks about, because I don't want to give spoilers away. I know it's been out a while.
Go for it.
But I've always wondered, why you've got all these vaults, right? Mm-hmm. But where did Vault Tech go? The people that made the vaults, where did they ever go?
Yeah.
That was in the series. That was in the series.
Well, no. This is the thing. At this point, when I was playing the games, I was like, is there like some kind of island in the sea where all the rich people?
Why would they not be a big thing?
Yeah. And I was always like, well, they must have known this was happening and they must have prepared for it because that's the government, right?
Because they literally, But
then watching the TV series, like, so they've definitely prepared for it.
Yeah, they orchestrated
it, yeah. So
that's a pretty big reveal, right?
It's a massive reveal,
huge.
Yeah. Well, they've never revealed like who fired first. The other thing was, who fired first and all this, and then you see this. What's really interesting is that across the Fallout games, even if you discount tactics, which a lot of people want to,
because it's not counted.
I love the game system. It was a great game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was basically it was like a tactical shooting game.
Yeah.
Which used the Fallout thing, but it made a lot of stuff a bit different. But anyway, they when Bethesda took over Fallout 3 and 4 and New Vegas. New Vegas wasn't Bethesda; it was someone else. But the point is, the sort of direction behind it changed quite a bit, and they started leaning more into stuff like the 1950s, which was always there but not quite as emphasized. Yeah. And also the really heavy like capitalist overtones and setting. Yeah. And that is where the TV show is massively pushed.
That is the theme, I think, of the TV show. Yeah. It's just the stagnation that occurs out of this stuff, like destruction. And then, because it's really, I found it really interesting because like, They nuked the world in order to like create it afresh, but then all they did was defrost one manager every 70 years, and it's like
Peachy's dream.
And it's just like such like it would never have gotten better. Yeah. And it did get better, and they were like, no. Right? Yeah. Because Shady is it Shady Sands?
Yeah. Shady Sands got nuked again, didn't it?
That was fucking heartbreaking.
At first I was a bit like, Maximus was there and he saw the bombs.
Yeah,
I was like,
what's the timeline? I got a bit confused.
But
then it
isn't
all
it meant
works
to be
out.
like 40 years after Fallout 4?
That's right. It's something like
So Shady,
it's some number of years after.
Shady Sands starts in, I think, the first, and
the
you
very
can track
first
you can
Fallout.
track the first
You go
Fallout,
there.
and it's just like a tiny settlement, but it's quite nice. It's
not
quite
the
nice. You
Republic
go
of
in
Dave,
there,
though, is it?
they trade with you. They're really nice, and it develops. You can see Shady Sands like developing over the course of the Fallout games.
I think the theme I picked up on, like you said, like when the Shady Sands got nuked again, I think one of the recurring themes I think it's trying to push, which I'm hoping weirdly Walter Goggins' character kind of subverts eventually, is that like mankind is always destined to repeat destruction and like
Stagnant,
like you know they're always destined to like be their own worst enemies towards the end, like which I think is the theme. It feels like it was pushing a little bit, which is kind of odd. Not
That's
odd.
a good theme.
It's a good theme. It's a good theme. It's quite interesting because I think like there's a really good like video essay about like all of the sci-fi movies from the 80s, and what it really talks about is like that there was this ongoing kind of like idea of like, what would the future look like? And then and like after like, you know, your Blade Runners and your other things where it was this kind of future, but not post-apocalypse, it then was like, okay, what is the apocalypse going to look like? And then you get your kind of your day after tomorrow and your stuff like that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So movies transition from like after the apocalypse to during the apocalypse.
And it was like, what could the future be? The future's probably going to be apocalypse. What would that look like? What's the post-apocalypse going to look like? Yeah. And then like even now in Fallout, it's like, by the way, the post-apocalypse, we're going to fuck it up again. And you're like, that's a heavy message, right?
I would say like having again watched the show a lot of times and dug into it a fair bit. I think the message is actually it's more granular. It's saying that corporate greed will doom us all. Basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
So because actually you look at it and there are characters,
Which is funny coming from Amazon.
It's the bit you don't go into, right?
It's wildly meta.
Wildly meta.
But like you've got characters like Lucy has the whole thing of Lucy is very naive and very optimistic.
Yeah.
But at her core, she is still trying to do the right thing. And the fact like she saves the
golden
ghoul
rule
afterwards.
is her favorite thing in the world. Yeah.
The golden rule, motherfucker.
I love her. Yeah, that was my favorite bit.
And so clearly what it's saying is, well, here's someone who you see Cooper Howard, who was the ghoul, who was initially like a corporate shill, whatever you want to say. He sold his thing.
He's sold out. There's a big narrative about whether he sold out or
Yeah.
whether it was just like he was trying to support his family, and that's fine.
And then he finds things out, and very clearly that there's clearly a chunk of time that we don't see in the show, which is between him finding out about the fact that Vault-Tec and his wife is, dooming the world, and him doing kids' parties.
Well, that's
he's now
kind of
divorced.
where I forgot they
And-
never show that.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a thing we're going to see later. But I think what's interesting is you see a character who has gone in and gone, oh, I'm just going to, do the thing. I'm getting paid for this. It doesn't really matter what I do.
Yeah, I can disconnect myself from the brand.
And then by the end of it, he's clearly made a stand and something's happened and he's lost all his work and whatever else.
Well, it became political.
Yeah.
Like him doing that became a political stance that he had to stand behind.
But that mirrors like all of the like everything that happened in the 50s and 60s in the USA with communism, right? Like,
that was the whole thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, the witch hunts, like the imprisonments, the court trial, like that's
when he's at the kid's birthday party, they're like, oh, he's a pinko, but he still took my money, didn't he? And it's this.
I've always found that an interesting term, pinkos, as well, because I've heard that so much. But
it's because it's a watered down version of red.
I was about to say it's because it's diluted. I assumed because it's like light
oh,
red.
that is interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so there's this whole thing. So his journey then, he does that, and then he comes back as the ghoul, and at that point, he is completely out for himself.
He's such a dick.
Yeah.
I was like, I love the character, but I'm like, he is a meanie pie. You
can't take that away. Like that's coming back. Like he's going to.
And by the end of it, he's on a redemptive path.
Well,
he's going to do a bit of this,
they
isn't he?
swapped fingers, and that was cute. It's like a little friendship bracelet sort of deal. I thought that was nice. That was the only bit that I was like, oh, that's kind of nice when they swapped fingers. Yeah. But I loved his character. He was great. I love how much girlies are so attracted to the ghoul. Can we talk about this?
I mean, this is more of a you subject.
Oh my God. The girls are feral for the ghoul. So like, you know how guys are like, I'm so ugly, I'll never get a girlfriend. And it's like, this is what women want to bone right now. And it's just like, he's not got a face. He's just got it. He's not even particularly
When you
nice.
say the girls, are we talking in-world or just...
Oh, no.
The internet is
the internet women
Really?
are feral for the ghoul. Yeah.
Really?
And some guy
there's
somewhere
hope
is
for
cutting his
Peach.
nose
There
off.
is hope for Peach yet.
Because I look like a ghoul.
Like a ghoul.
Still got my nose. Still got my nose.
Give it time.
Give it time.
Give
Give
it
it a
time.
good 10 years of a cocaine addiction.
I
And
wonder what the ghoul smells like.
bad.
Beef jerky.
Real
butt
toasty.
jerky? Is it
Yeah.
ass jerky?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Mystery jerky, as the game's always called it. Now we know the truth.
Ass jerky.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't know, would he?
Who?
The ghoul.
The ghoul wouldn't know. Oh, he doesn't have a nose.
There.
No, I think Lucy was my favorite character. I also really did like the overseer in, what was the vault she went in where everyone was a
number 4.
mutant? Was it Vault 4?
Amazing.
I love Vault 4, but the overseer in Vault 4 was my favorite guy.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was so sweet.
With the
Yeah.
one eye.
Yeah.
It's the fact that when you thought,
And
is she
two
going to get
eyebrows.
killed?
Just looks
She's going to
weird.
get sacrificed. No, and here's two
Here's
weeks
your
worth of
gift
supplies.
basket.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll carry them to the surface for you. We're not monsters. And then he fucked it. I was so angry
It
when
felt
he
like
fucked it up.
a random DLC vault that's been thrown in that is so
loved it.
wacky and nothing to do with the main storyline, but it's a great
You're right.
time. I love it.
I was going to mention my favorite vault. Is it from a DLC? Is it the Gary vault? Is it Vault 111?
The Gary
vault
the Gary,
is my-
yeah,
is
where
my-
everyone just
Everyone's
says
Gary. No, everyone is Gary.
Everyone is Gary.
He's
Everyone
a clone.
says Gary.
He's a clone of himself, and he's just been spent like the last however many 100 years just with clones of himself, and all he can say is Gary. Like,
So you're
he's a
walking around
Pokemon.
and it's like Gary.
He'd love a PvE game. He'd love a
there
PvE
you go.
game. Yeah.
R.I.P. Gary. He would have loved Pokemon.
So Fallout's been really good fun to work on.
Yeah.
And,
I bet.
and actually, it goes back a little bit to what we were saying earlier about Blood Bowl. Look at us with our callbacks. Because when I first left workshop, I did Blitz Bowl, which was one of the little small box games. And it was like a very accessible version of Blood Bowl. And so Factions was the same sort of thing of taking Blood Bowl with that, like we said earlier, big like barrier to entry.
Yeah.
And going, how do we make this a lot more condensed? And so it was nice to kind of go through that same process again. And again, also working on another skirmish game. I like a skirmish game, you know. And
We
I
all
feel
love
like
a skirmish game in this family.
And we've had loads of fun meetings where we've been able to sit and talk about what ones are coming out next. We've got rules for stuff, for the next year or so planned.
Is there any cool IPs that you can't tell us?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's
What a closed-ended
exciting.
question.
Any that you can tell us?
Mass Effect has been announced,
That's exciting.
which we've been doing a bit of development on in-house. That's looking pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
So Eric Lang and Calvin Wong, who are really well-known people in the board game scene, they've done a really good job with making a Mass Effect board game.
Yes.
And that'll be coming out at some point
That's
soon.
a good one.
Can I ask a question to you and also everyone else in the room?
Yes.
Right now, and there might be miniatures for it, so I don't know. What's the one IP out there in the wild that you would either like to see new miniatures for, because they might already have miniatures, or they don't have miniatures and you'd like to see miniatures for the setting?
I want a cinematic Jim Henson universe. So not labyrinth themed, not Dark Crystal, but just set in that universe game.
To be clear, are you including Muppets in this?
I will also be including Muppets in this, and then
Now I'm on board.
DLC Sesame Street for the kids.
Nice.
But I think just a Dark Crystal labyrinth themed game where not even involving characters from either, but just those factions just fleshed out, and I would love that so much.
Have you seen the book? There's a book of Brian Froud, who designed all the goblins. He did a book.
I have the Brian
was gonna
Froud
say, it's gotta be
Goblins
yours,
book,
yeah.
which has
You've got to
little
have this.
notes from the goblins in it. Of course, I have it. Duh, yeah.
Amazing.
And Brian Froud obviously can also be there as the art director.
Yes.
Trish met Brian Froud and his wife recently.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she did, and I was so jelly.
Because his son, whose name I've forgotten, who was the baby in Labyrinth.
Oh my god, he was the
then
baby
worked
in Labyrinth
on the recent Dark Crystal
yes,
series.
he did. Yeah.
amazing.
I love that.
I'm a huge fan. Okay, Rob.
Oh, to me. I was
Yes.
kind of asked everyone else to give myself time.
I know you
so
were.
Peachy.
I've got one. I've got one.
Okay, fine.
I've got one.
Okay.
G.I. Joe and Cobra. Now there are figures. There's the odd 3D print. We print
Yep.
minis. Miniatures do a couple. There's a board game that has a couple of plastics. They're
There
all
is.
right. They're all
I think
right.
we saw those when we went to ChillCon or something.
Yeah, I was
we did.
debating, but I'd like the set there, the Raiders, and
be cool,
plastic
wouldn't it?
kits
That's
of
fun.
the G.I. Joe characters that you get. There's so many.
That's
But also
fun.
like
There's
Cobra,
a
Cobra
lot.
Troopers, Crimson Guard, all the things I loved as a kid. I'd want that.
How would you do the game? Would you do it meta? Like there are G.I. Joe in a kind of kids' room, and that would be fun.
That's cool. I like that.
I
I've seen
like
that done a few
that.
times with I saw a
Has
game
it?
of you remember the Borrowers?
Yes.
So it wasn't that. It was like fairy creature things, and you played it on a bookshelf or on a thing, and you did it in the house.
I love the idea that the scale is literally like this.
It's fantastic.
That's such a good
That's fun.
idea. Oh,
I do like that though, playing it in
That's-
the meta.
Yeah.
So they're GI Joes in a kids world, but don't know that they're GI Joes in a kids world.
Well, your
you can
gaming
literally play
area
it
is your gaming
you can
area
play it here.
is your floor.
Oh yeah, so you can literally you don't need scenery because you can just get
It's the scale.
Oh my god, that's actually very clever.
That's actually.
That's
Are we
actually very
thinking?
clever.
Are we thinking Rascal
if
Town?
you were watching this, sign us up.
we could so do that for Rascal Town.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Can't trademark rules.
Well, no one's made the rules yet.
Well, we know someone that can write rules.
Yeah,
Oh wait,
who's very expensive. So
Who's extremely
slow it down.
For you.
apparently it needs to go to Centre Parks first, and then we can get it.
What about you? You got anything?
I would do, and I've been wanting to do this for years.
Oh yeah.
Jace and the Wheeled Warriors, which was a cartoon from like.
I don't know this. Can I Google this?
Yeah, it started out as a toy range that was almost immediately got rid of.
What's it,
But the
Chase?
Jace, Jayce.
J-A-Y-C-E.
I was just saying
Wheeled
Jason
Warriors.
and the Warlords, and I don't know why.
Jason
No.
and the Wheeled
Wheeled
Warriors.
Warriors,
Yeah.
and they were like.
This is very
It was a bunch.
niche,
It was
James.
like late 80s, early 90s kids TV show, Saturday morning, and
So good.
they've all got cars. Okay,
I guess.
And the cars have got different modular things. This one's got a big buzzsaw, and this one's got a grabby thing.
Oh,
This
so
is
it's like Robot Wars.
sort of, but they're fighting a thing called the plant boss or the.
Oh my
Is this
God,
all
yeah.
the big
Look at
Swedes?
that. I showed the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This looks so
And so there's
fun.
plant cars. They've got things, and they have like it's so stupid.
Would you do like Dark Future?
Yes.
Oh my God.
100%. But I was thinking like an adventure game with because it's all on. They're always going on like big, huge vines and things. So that's your board.
That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
all this.
weird. I
And
love the idea that it's like Dark Future where you make your own though.
But the thing that was in the toy range that then came into the TV series is the cars could swap modules.
Oh my
And
God.
little rockets
smart.
came up and they fly.
I'm
and everything.
Googling
Yeah.
this as
Get
well.
a chance. Look at the intro. Is one of the best cartoon
It's a pretty good
intros
intro.
ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. We like the intro to Raccoons.
Raccoons is good.
It's got the
Pretty
best.
good.
It's got
Raccoons
the
is
best.
good, but Wheeled Warriors
Yeah.
is
Oh, the toys
Do you remember
look
Mask as
so
well?
fun.
absolutely. I've been hoping for years that the Fast and Furious movies would turn out to be like a stealth pilot for a live action Mask series. 'Cause it's making
Really
more
good.
and more sense.
Honestly,
really good.
after what is it, 11? I think.
At this point, they're just
Don't
super
they go into
superheroes.
space at
Yeah,
one
they
point?
got
Yeah, they
magic
are
cars.
currently in space.
Mate,
One of them survived a building falling on them the other day.
The other day,
The other
it was
day,
in the news.
recently.
Yeah, Fast and Furious, just the best TV, the best movie series.
I've actually never seen one.
So one of the things that I say about the Fast and Furious is something that like
You say
I
a
think
lot
is,
of things about the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, because like it really taps into the ideology of like what people should be making.
Yeah.
Like, and
What
I
do you
mean,
mean? What do you mean by this?
because
though?
people make stuff for entertainment and people make stuff for like art, and sometimes they coalesce, like we see with Dune. Where it's entertaining and it's I think very good.
Oh, it's so
good.
it's so
good,
pretty
good,
to look at.
Good and fun. I think sometimes people accidentally mash them together, like I just did with this mic. Mash them together, and like things can just be good. And I guess probably
like
fun.
Godzilla times Kong was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
not good.
It
Is
wasn't.
that where the big monkey's got a power fist?
Oh, it's got a big
that one?
eye. It's
Yeah.
with a power
Yeah,
fist.
cool.
Because his hand
Cool.
gets hurt,
Yeah.
and they happen just literally 2 minutes away. Have a spare power fist.
I've got a lot of time for any movie that knows exactly what it is.
that's
Which is what the
exactly
Fast and the
what
Furious.
Rob's saying,
But then
yeah.
the Fast and the Furious, which is what I like about it, is that they know what they are, or at least the creators do. But like
They're a
the
family.
actors and everyone else have no idea that what they are. They think it's good.
Yeah.
And that makes it so much funnier.
Yeah.
If you watch that going into it, being like, everyone here thinks this is amazing.
Top
Best
cinema.
scene in the movie for me
Yeah.
is G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra. They're attacking an underground base in the Arctic, and during a ninja fight, they're having a flashback
Ninja fight?
to a ninja fight. It's just like,
So you know, people say Inception was the height of cinema for that sort of thing. No. I think
Ninja
you've just
fight.
topped that. That's a step beyond.
Yeah.
I love it. That's
whilst in an
amazing.
underground base
What year did
under
that
the
come
Arctic.
out? How old were you when that came out?
That's quite recent. That's Channing Tatum.
Is that recently? I
so
thought
that's like
that
last
might have,
10
like-
years,
Yeah, it was
something
like
like that.
2012.
You have your own
10.
comic book called Ninja Wars.
Ninja Wars is my
Ninja
own
Wars. Are you aware of
creation
Ninja
from the
Wars?
80s.
Really?
Yeah, let's
It's
talk
not a
about
comic book. It's just me scrolling. Like I had the Red Ninjas versus Black Ninjas.
Yep.
The Black Ninjas were the
This is when
goodies. The
Peachy
Red
was,
Ninjas
like,
were the
9?
baddies. 5.
He
They were
wrote
really
Ninja
bad.
Why have we not got miniatures range yet?
I don't know.
Why are we not monetizing your hobbies and the things you love?
Why don't
We'll
we make a
sculpt you some Ninja War
diorama?
minis, don't worry.
Yes, I need ninjas, lots of ninjas. But I mean, it was just me drawing and scribbling lots of ninjas.
I've
fighting
seen
and,
the
like,
pictures.
arrows
They're
sticking-
actually really good.
Are they?
Yes.
Are they really?
Yes.
They're like slightly stocky stickmen.
They're really good. There's some
Okay.
good action.
How could 9-year-old you not be good at drawing?
5-year-old me. Come on.
5-year-old.
5-year-old.
Anyway.
Let's give, pass
that
people
point,
some credit.
Rob,
Yeah.
what's your dream game?
Well, I've got 4 now. Oh my God. Being given time,
Great.
I was like, well, obviously now we have to do a Fast and Furious one.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
obvious.
a board game that is surprisingly good.
Really?
I would
Fast
love to
and
bring it around and show
Furious?
you. I use it as an example of a really good licensed product. It's exactly the same
kidding.
thing. It's a board game. It's done by Prospero Hall.
Yeah.
It sells for about 15 quid online. They clearly are trying to clear their warehouse.
Good
And
one.
it's 3 scenarios, rolling road, funky little cars. You've got a little truck with the back opens, and they're simple little half an hour, cooperative, and you get your driver and your car, and you mix and match them, and you can leap into opposing cars and beat people up. And
There
it's
it is.
incredibly done. It's so good.
I need to get this.
This looks fun.
Because Charlie loves cars.
Can we play it?
It's currently
yes, we'll play
it's
it.
currently
Yeah.
$6.99.
Oh
so
my
Again,
God.
It knows exactly what it is,
Yeah.
and it does a brilliant job of
Is
it.
this on Amazon?
look, $6.99.
I'm going to get that.
All right, we'll get that.
Bam.
That's a birthday present for me.
I think a throwback one.
You could be a helicopter.
It's a baddie helicopter, and you have to get away from it. You got a computer hacker in a car, and the helicopter tries to lock onto it, and you can flip bad guy cars into the air to kill the
Look,
helicopter.
it's the scene. It's the scene from the first Fast and Furious.
It's so
That's
good.
so fun.
It's better than it has any right to be. And
It's
I'm in
true.
love with it.
Like literally
Yeah.
nothing deserves to be good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, so Fast and Furious done.
That's done. I think just as a throwback, because I don't know if it was ever done, but Visionaries would be a good
What's
one.
Visionaries?
It's just a harkback. I'm about to just. I've just said that really, so a bunch of people go, "I remember Visionaries,"
Yeah.
but it's a bunch
Oh,
of
is it? I
knights
remember.
where they have holograms in their chest.
Yes, I used to have some of those.
Yeah.
Were they a toy line?
Yeah, totally.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't
I
remember.
never knew there was a TV show. I just remember the toys.
It was TV.
I
yeah.
don't
'Cause
remember
everything-
the toys, but I knew they were.
Have I ever told you this? This is one of those like thoughts that I had once. So
One of them
everything,
thoughts that he had
So the
once.
80s cartoons, which became like incredibly famous and had a massive.
Oh, are you
like,
going to say
effect.
what I think you're going to say?
Well, we'll see. They obviously they were directly created to sell toys.
Yeah.
Right, and like that methodology or ideology effectively was done just as a precursor before Warhammer. Right. And what I love is the idea that selling toys, they like someone in the 80s, like cottoned on, they were like, oh, if we sell toys, we just need to make a story. Like, and
My
then
Little
pitch it.
Pony is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Like the whole cartoon is about selling the toy
Here's
line.
a new character. This one's got a younger brother now.
So
you know, whatever it might be.
literally, like with the new My Little Pony, which isn't new anymore, they literally did like this massive like princess wedding arc right after there was the royal wedding, literally to sell a toy line, and everyone was furious because it like ruined the whole plot. Apparently,
That is literally exactly the same conversation as that we were having a little while ago about
Yeah.
law changes and this
yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah. There
This
you go.
stuff is
It was
done
just to
the
sell it.
stuff.
It's just like more grimdark My Little Pony.
Yeah, it's just He-Man in armor.
Yeah.
Like that's Warhammer. But anyway, so Visionaries would be fun. The one that would
be
have
fun.
zero commercial success, but I would be incredibly excited to play, would be an intense, really odd water-based battle with ships in the water world setting.
Oh, yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
do you have to play it in the bath? Because that would be my rule. Everything would have
So
to be
more-
rubber ducky based.
Complicated, I
It'd have to be
think.
really expensive. Everything costs so much. It was
just
the highest budget
floats.
movie
Was
in
it?
many
You
years.
could go to events
Because
to
they
a
filmed it all
swimming
on
pool,
location in the
a
sea.
large event.
I love War World. We watched it recently.
Yeah.
been-
But that would be interesting.
That'd be amazing.
You know, Man of War, but Waterworld would
Yeah.
be my
Man
next.
of War.
Post-apocalyptic Man of War.
Yeah, but my number one would be I'd love to see a Babylon 5 miniatures game where it's just the different factions. I know it's very nerdy, but there we go.
You know, I never really watched much Babylon 5. I'm aware of it.
Still worth watching now.
Oh, no, I've heard so many people say it's got the... I think Deep Space Nine hooked on to
Yes.
that long story thread.
DS9 exists because Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Also, kind of shout out if you've never watched Babylon 5, and I spoke with someone at Games Workshop once, and I said, hey, won't insert their names so they don't get in trouble. I find it really odd that all of the 40k ships look a lot like the Babylon 5 ships, and then they, I won't even give away gender, said, it's because we just stole those. They're just like we just
because
took
we
those.
took 'em.
There's a lot to be said for honesty.
Yes.
There is. At least they were honest. Because like I remember I posted a video which was about like movies that inspired Warhammer and also movies that like feel kind of Warhammery. But in that I was like, here's like 10 movies which you can see inspired Warhammer, and some people were very mad at me for implying that. Like they were like, that's clickbait, nothing's inspired Warhammer. How do you get that from Dune?
It was crafted from pure marble.
Yeah.
It is the future. It has been told to us. It's
Yeah,
prophecy.
yeah. Literally, they
Chuds.
were so mad.
Again, the chuds. I
They
can
were
say
so
chuds.
mad. You can say
so
chuds. You can say
so
chuds and
so
chuds.
Super okay. The just because I'm just conscious of time, I think we should.
yeah.
I think this is just it now. We're going to wrap it up if that's okay with
This is
everybody.
it. This is it.
This is it. This is the end. James, I hope you've enjoyed coming on our Juggz.
It's been lovely.
Thank
It's been
you.
really nice.
Thank you.
I'd do it again.
Would you like to come on our Juggz again sometime?
I'd love to. I love this. I love our little chats.
I love you.
And it's nice. It's nice actually. The four of us getting together. It's so rare we
I
get together
know.
and have
Because
a
like we
chat.
said, we've all like, because I go LARPing with you, and like we all see you around at like events and stuff, but we very rarely just get to go. Huh.
Exactly.
And please do tell others about our Juggz as well.
I
Please
will.
do.
I'll
Tell your
describe them in great
friends.
detail.
Tell your friends about our Juggz.
We'll include all the ways that you can find out, or maybe not contact, but get in touch with
We
James.
don't want more hate.
Send us death threats.
Send me death on Instagram.
And then if you listen to this late, I have now updated all the info. So it's got the podcast feed info.
Nice.
But we've got to stop now so we can make our Patreon video.
Oh yeah, that.
Roger that, boss.
I could do another cup of tea as well. But for now, for you, YouTube thugs, thank you for coming to our Juggz.
You stay classy, San Diego.
Okay. Do you want to sign off, James?
Bye.
Bye.